Hey guys, welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast, episodes 328, where tonight we are stopping, dropping, shutting down, and open up shop. In the immortal words of DMX, X gonna give it to you, because we're talking about Fast X tonight, my friends. Fast X Part 1 of 3, potentially. We'll see what the naming conventions will be for this dumbass franchise that we all love. I'm Ryan Leopolis. I'm joined, as always, Sparks Witty.
I am here. I'm a little coffee, but I am here.
I would love some coffee. I got some Ben Magnet over there.
I don't have friends, I have family.
There you go. And we are sans of Brandon T. McClure, but he is up in the jolly cold north doing not podcast stuff. So, you know, he's not with us this week, but he will be with us
in spirit.
In spirit.
Yeah. In spirit.
But before we get into all the festivities of, you know, talking about variants and families and variants of families, Sparks, do we have any links?
We do.
About things we did in the podcast?
We have links in the description. As has been going on, we're continuing to keep a link about the information on the writers' strike. So if you want to learn more about that, you need to learn more about that. That's still down below. Brandon has a link to his CBR work that he's been doing this week. Recommend you checking that out. We also have a link to the latest D and Dark episode, episode 26, A State of Mind. Ben, you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, this is the episode that introduces Victor Frankenstein. That was like the big because the last episode, myself and the party, we found a whole bunch of Igors. We're trying to figure out what the heck is going on because we knew we're in the town with where Victor Frankenstein was. We find him. We also find Rainer. Shit goes bad. Bad times, y'all.
I was not caught up. Also was not on last week, but I caught up to D and Dark, and that Igor stuff, real funny.
Yeah,
real good. That production work of Dan's, I gotta tell you, I know we kiss his ass every week, but man, that's a good show y'all make.
It is so refreshing to hear what Dan does, because obviously I'm part of the cast. I'm playing the game, and when he does stuff like when he was overlapping all the different Igors together, obviously when we were actually doing it, he was just talking normally about like saying all these Igors, but the fact that he was able to layer what he does stuff in the editing is just like, man, that's nuts in a good way. It's awesome.
Yeah, great show. Always recommend.
Great. Yes. Awesome show. Very happy with that episode. And lastly, from our own network, only thing we dropped this week on any of the shows, because I'm behind, frankly, is Brandon released the latest conversation, the third episode of the season with Sean Farrick of the Talk Trek channel, I believe. So that's out there. Highly recommend going and checking out more of Brandon's conversations. And that is all of the links that I have here, friends. So without further ado, it's time to get into what we did this week.
Already? Hot dog. I'll go first with my 2 weeks, because you'd think, wow, Ryan, you were gone for 2 weeks. You probably got a lot to say. Couldn't be me. Could never be me. I played Jedi Survivor, and then I stopped playing that because I got Zelda. And I'm not going to return to Jedi Survivor until the day before we record that podcast, because nothing is stopping me from playing Zelda for the next 2 months of my life. Hot shit, y'all. Believe the hype. I don't need to go into it. It sold like 11 million copies as of like 5 days. It's like Elden Ring numbers. It's selling gangbusters. It just feels good. It's like the cultural zeitgeist of being like watching a big TV show, but like with a video game, like it doesn't happen as often with something so big. It happened with Elden Ring, but Zelda is just, it appeals to so many more people. And man, like the shit people are making, the things people are doing. I cannot believe that is a game that runs on software that's almost like 10 years old. Like it is one of those games where it's like running on my iPhone. Is like how powerful that Switch is, and it is doing shit that our current gen systems, our PS5s and Xbox Ones, are not doing. And it just put into reflection of, what are we doing with video games? What is making them look prettier the only thing we're gonna do? Are we not going to evolve video games? And Zelda's like, don't worry, guys, I'm here for you. We are here for you. 6 years ago, we give you a game of the generation, like the genre-defining game. What if we did it again, even better? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I have nothing else to say after my week. Zelda is just incredible.
Essentially, Tears of the Kingdom is just like hold my beer to the entire video game industry, and just like smacks its hands and goes out. And even Ryan, you were talking about the Zelda about the numbers for Zelda, how it was doing Elden Ring. Not only that, there's only one console to play Zelda on. That's on the Nintendo Switch. Whereas Elden Ring, you could play it on Steam, you could play it on PC, PS5, Xbox. You could only play Zelda in one place, and that's on a Nintendo console. So
Yeah.
the fact that this game is sold that much, I mean, we knew the Switch's like selling numbers. I think I know it hasn't surpassed PS2 numbers, but if the last time I checked, I'm 99% sure that the Nintendo Switch is the second highest selling console of all time, but it's getting just that closer to being at the PS2. It beat the Wii, and I mean, it beat the Wii ages ago, but
Oh my God.
man,
This is the insane thing. More copies of Breath of the Wild has been sold than Wii U's were sold. That system was a bomb. That system was a bomb. And Breath of the Wild came out on that system. And it's like, man, it's like I cannot wait to see like the next generation of Nintendo games, because they're always like 10 years behind in terms of like graphics and stuff. But I don't care about graphics. Like, I cannot see what they can do when they do have the power of a PS5, because like they are doing like literally game changing shit in old tech, in really old tech. But like, yeah, if you're a video gamer, if you're a video gamer, what the hell does that mean? If you play video games, you know about Zelda. It's just, and I've seen you've seen us play it because our household is in love with it.
It's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere. Yeah. But the hype is so real. Like, there are so many games I'm excited for this year, but like I've never seen such a harder lock for a game of the year. Maybe except Elden Ring, and that was only last year. Like, video gamers are blessed, dude. Like, it's a magical feeling. Like, all I want to do is play that game.
Even last week when I went to go pick up a Jedi Survivor from your guys' house, because Sparks had a copy for me and I went to go pick it up, I stayed an extra 20, 30, maybe 40 odd minutes because Sparks' sister-in-law was playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I hadn't had a game. I didn't have the game yet, so I'm just like, yeah. I'm I'm like living vicariously through her because I didn't have the game yet. But yeah, once we get to my week, that changed.
Yeah, it's really magical, and like it, like the way that the game makes me feel, it's unlike not even Breath of the Wild, just the way that like the engineering that goes into it, like you can put as much effort or as little effort into the game and it'll reward you regardless. Like, it is I always talk about my favorite games are like player expression, player creativity, and like I don't know if I've ever played a game again besides Elden Ring that gave me this much freedom. Like, literally I can fuse anything to anything with any weapon, and it's just like, try it, it's probably gonna work, it's gonna do something you don't expect. It's genius game design, like truly genius. And like again, not to disparage like Jedi Survivor, which is a great game, but I'm just like, this game, besides looking great, is a game that could have came out on the PS2 in terms of what it's doing. And it's just like it took Zelda to be like, oh man, we really aren't like pushing the medium forward like we should be with the PS5 and stuff. And I'm like, it took a 10-year-old game almost, like what it feels like. Because again, like this game does not look like a PS5 game. It looks like a PS3 game, right? But again, that doesn't matter. It's got style. It's got substance. It looks good.
This is why one of the reasons I remain so curious about Final Fantasy 16 later this year, because I do think it's going to be the first, all signs point to it being the first really made for the PS5, really utilizing the PS5 game. I'm not saying like it's going to push innovation as far as Tears of the Kingdom, but I do think it'll finally be like, oh, right, the PS5 is different.
Can do this.
Right.
Yeah, because like we haven't really, I mean, there have been like big like set pieces, but like God of War on the PS2 had big set pieces. They just look better now. And again, it took until like Tears of the Kingdom to be like, wow, like we really aren't evolving very much. And I'm like, oh man, because it's really hard. It like, again, like making games is the hardest thing. It's like, making games is so much harder than making movies. Like every video game is like a million movies put together and you hope it works. So the fact that like this game can come out and it takes 6 years and it is as perfect as it is, I'm like, oh man, like,
that's the secret sauce right there, is you got to have a studio willing to give you time.
Exactly, yeah. And apparently, like, and my final word on it, like this game was done last year, but with the pandemic, they're like, hey, we're gonna push it and you guys polish it. And this is one of the most polished, like, incredible feats. Like besides some like minor hiccups because of like the insane like tanks and like 30 log bridges that I'm building, besides some minor hiccups, like this game runs better than Jedi Survivor by a long shot. And the things that I'm doing in the game are substantially more impressive. But again, that's not me trying to shit on a different game. It's how impressive this game is.
It's more the industry itself.
It's more the industry
in comparison to how it's creating
Absolutely,
things for video games. Ben, you got a lot to talk about in Tears of the Kingdom. Why don't we just roll into that and you can start your week there?
Hell yeah. So Before I get into Tears of the Kingdom, I do want to talk about the other things I did because, like I said, I got Jedi Survivor. Sparks, thank you again, and I did start it. I actually did start the game. I played a little bit of it. I got to where I met Grease, which is I want to say in the first 2 hours of the game.
Yeah.
And as I'm playing Jedi Survivor, a friend of the show, one of my best friends, Jeff, messaged me. He's like, "Hey, what's your email?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this." 5 seconds later, there's a little ding that pops up and it says, "Here's your code for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom."
What a sweet man.
That beautiful man bought me Tears of the Kingdom.
I love it.
And I almost cried, to be perfectly honest with you all. I almost cried because I've been waiting for this game. Breath of the Wild, and while it's not my favorite Zelda game of all time, it is up there in my Zelda echelon, up there in my video game echelon, period. And oh my God. I mean, yes, Tears of the Kingdom is great. And you were talking about how how you get a feeling for, and how video games evolved and how Tears of the Kingdom is pushing the envelope. Even when I was first playing it, when I was on that first like the tutorial, like the Great Skyland, where you first start off before you get back into Hyrule, Hyrule proper, there were parts that I was getting kind of annoyed, but at the same time I had to remind myself, like, this is a Breath of the Wild style game. I can come back. I can fix some of these puzzles. At one part I thought I was like really screwed, and I was like and I was trapped in a certain area because I had to get to the last shrine so I could open the Temple of Time, and I couldn't get to it. I was like, where the heck do I go? How do I get up there? You just gotta keep looking, and then there's always a way to like get up there. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, there's multiple ways. Like I've crafted, like I made a bridge to get up to this rock after I destroyed 3 Zonai constructs, and I got all the treasures and stuff. But yeah, and you were saying about how Tears of the Kingdom, because at first I wasn't 100% sure how I like, just like just aesthetic wise, like the weapons are decayed and everything, because I miss my swords, I miss going around hunting for materials and stuff. But all the weapons are like decayed, and you have to fuse things to the weapons. I mean, it's funny when you have a sword with a giant rock stuck to the top of it, but at the same time, it's like this comes in handy. Especially when I just, right before we started recording, I just went into the depths for the first time. And the sense of, I want to explore, like once I got get back up to Hyrule, I want to go find shrines. I want to see what's over the horizon. I don't want to immediately go to the first mission that Purah tells me to do. I want to go the opposite ways. Like I want to look around. I need to hunt. I need to forage. I need to find stuff. And I missed that from Breath of the Wild, even in Elden Ring, because Elden Ring was like, I want to go what's over there. I want to see what treasures lie. Ooh, I found a dungeon. Let's venture into this dungeon. What dangers are here? But with Zelda, it's not much of a danger. It's more of a curiosity. It's the call to adventure is there.
I would describe it like I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but I thought of it's Studio Ghibli's Dark Souls. It's Studio Ghibli's Elden Ring. It is a giant open world with as much exploration as possible. There's a secret underground place that, Ben, I can't tell you how big that underground is. It is a dark world of the above world. It is the entire, there are 3 entire giant land masses in this game. This game is literally double the size of the first game. It's incredible. I cannot believe this game is running on Switch. It's unfathomable.
It is. And I think it's only 16 gigs too when you first download it.
That's like all the updates for Jedi Survivor alone. That game's 150 gigs. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's nuts to see how. I mean, I don't want to like compare, because like comparing this to Jedi Survivor is like comparing apples to oranges. They're completely different things. Don't get me wrong. I am having fun with Jedi Survivor, and I do love how the time has progressed. I'm not early in either one of these games, but yeah, with Zelda, I can see myself exploring more and not getting bored of it. Whereas with Jedi Survivor, while I'm exploring to find a bunch of like the cosmetic stuff to upgrade or not to upgrade, but to change my lightsaber just the way how I want it, and all the commit stuff. Well, that's cool and all. With Breath of the Wild, with Tears of the Kingdom, it just has more oomph to it, where it's like you find a shrine, you find a spot where you can commune with the dragons, or you find a spot, or you find a bunch of Koroks. I found a random Korok because I was trying to help this dude hold up a sign in Hyrule Castletown ruins, and I'm just trying to figure out a way of what can I do to like just keep the sign from toppling over. And then I see this rock, I pull it over, and just a Korok goes, yeah. I'm like, oh shit.
So I I was in a fight and I was going to attach a rock to a stick. So when I picked the rock up and a Korok came out, and I'm like, oh no. I have to pick up every single rock now to find if there's a Korok under there.
I was already doing, although I do feel bad because I found a Korok who was like, I need to go to my friend. And unfortunately, I couldn't figure out on how to, it was right before the second shrine. There's these 2 rails that connect these 2 shrines that connect to like the big waterbed where the second shrine is. And I figured, I was like, oh, I could attach this, because that's what I love about this game is that you create the puzzle, or you solve the puzzle. There's like multiple different solutions. You just have to figure it out, or you just have to think of one. And of course, I thought this one way. I was like, oh, I'll take I'll stick these 2 logs together long ways. But then I'm like, oh wait, how am I gonna get up? Oh, I could just run up. I didn't run up it fast enough. It's not until later when I'm playing to get like further away from that, I'm like, oh, I should have put them. Oh, I'm an idiot. I should just put them side by side, and then the thing. Oh, I'm an idiot.
No, yeah,
But then I realized, wait, this is a Breath of the Wild style game. I can come back. I could fast travel, and I just got my glider, and now the call to adventure is there, and I am just the bugs got me good. It's got me just like it did in 2017. I miss it, and even seeing how Hyrule has changed, I still feel like I'm back home. Oddly enough.
Yeah, no, I played Breath of the Wild once, like 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't play it at launch, but playing that game once through, and it's been enough years now where like it is the same base Hyrule like map, but like a lot of stuff has changed. Like obviously, like the sky stuff has destroyed the ground, and like 6 years have passed. So like there's new towns have popped up, and there's so many more monsters. There's so many more NPCs. This world, like I love Breath of the Wild. It did feel a little like empty, but like this one, like there was considerably more life everywhere. There are patrols happening everywhere. Again, it feels like an Elden Ring. Like this game couldn't have been inspired by Elden Ring because they're coming out at the same time. But it's so funny that 2 of the best open world games of all time that came out 1 year apart both have like secret underground like layer stuff happening. Like it's just really cool. They're like great game design. Like people will find it eventually, and it happened at the same time. Because this game was supposed to come out last year. Remember? Imagine if this and Elden Ring came out the same year. I don't even know what the world would do. What would we do?
There'd be fine. I'm glad that it didn't come on it. Well, first of all, I'm glad it didn't come out during Elden Ring, because we all know how much time we all of us sunk into Elden Ring, especially Ryan and myself. But I'm just glad they were able to polish this as much as they did, and the game is as good as it is. I won't lie. I was watching reviews, spoiler-free reviews, mind you, about the game, just getting ready for it, and now that it's finally here, it's on my Switch. It's just like I was this close to like ready to do the bit of when we opened the show of me holding my Switch playing it, because I want to. I am just ready for it now. I'm ready to explore again. I missed it.
Yeah. And again, like I already said, my final thoughts would be, but like my favorite thing, and the first game did it too, is like when it opens up the world, like, hey, here's the main quest. It's like, here are 4 places you might want to visit. Do them in any order you want, and then it's the game. That's the game, and it is up to you. And it is a problem. I have seen people, not saying the game is bad, but they're having a problem connecting with it, because some people need structure. Some people can't play open world games, especially games like this where they don't tell you what to do. And especially if you didn't play Breath of the Wild, I think this game might be a lot for a new person to play this. This is such a video game. And it's so expansive. Like I can see a person playing this for an hour going, I have no idea what to do. But like if you're entwined in video games and how they work, like like most video game people, so like you'll get it.
I do love how, because I just talked to Pura, I just got like my the central Hyrule part of the map just opened on my little thingy, and she said, okay, there's 4 things here. You might want to check them out. We recommend going to this one first, but just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
What I love about this one, just like how much I love Breath of the Wild, is that they give you suggestions of, say, hey, maybe you want to check. It's like, hey, here's where the 4 beasts are. Good luck getting to them. And then while you're going to them, like even then there was like another person I was talking to saying, oh yeah, I'm from the southeast of Hyrule, beautiful coastal town. It's being overrun by pirates. I'm like, I want to go kick some pirate ass.
Yeah, I love.
Go ahead, sorry. Not only that, there's like 3 other shrines around that I can see, and there's a few other towers I can get to. I cannot tell you how many times when I was playing Breath of the Wild when it first came out that I'm just like, one more shrine. Oh, that was too easy. Oh, look, I'm gonna try to get this tower. Cool, I got the tower, and then I got another part of my map open up. Yeah, you know what? I also want to go. Oh, there's another shrine down there. Let me go to that shrine. Why do I see the sun coming up?
Yeah, it's the perfect, like, oh, one more thing. Like, oh, I could see that thing in the distance. I'll just hop over to it, and then you see something else and see something else. And
Yeah.
Lovely.
It was really hard because when Sparks said, "Hey, like 9:15, this is when we're going to try and start," I'm like, I'm a good part where I want to sit, where I could save and stop, but why is it's hard.
Good game, good ass game.
It is a good ass game. Can't wait to play more of it. I mean,
Yeah.
but besides Tears of the Kingdom, Star Wars, Jedi Survivor, I've also I'm watching Rebels again.
Me too.
I am on episode 13 of season 1.
Oh my God,
I just met I just got through the Lando Calrissian episode. I still got a ways to go. I still have seasons 2, 3, and 4, but I'm on my way.
You got plenty of time. You're great.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Love
Ezra
it.
just built his first lightsaber. I met Lando, and we also found out that there's this one senator dude who was a trap. He was essentially luring people. He was luring insurgents in, and then the Empire would take him out. Because he's a fake senator in exile.
Ooh, a senator.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much my week.
Love it. Love it. All right, Sparkles.
All right.
Hit me.
Okay.
Not physically.
Let's see. I'm playing Jedi Survivor. That's the game I'm playing. And I'm only bringing it up because as you were talking about like comparisons of things, I realized like this week I had this week is probably the most frustrated I've been with Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
Because there are some puzzles where I'm like, either this was not clear, or that's it. And there was one room in particular where my mom and I so my mom's playing through it with me, and so like we went in and we were checking out the stuff. And we pull aside all these pieces. It's like one of the Jedi temples puzzles, and there were like 3 avenues that kind of led to nothing, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
Why is this here?
Yeah.
And that was frustrating. So that was that's where I'm at with Jedi Survivor right now. Is like I like it, but like some of the puzzles are fruitless.
I'll tell you what. Like I am always a big proponent of customization in games, but when I'm 25 hours into your game and I do something really hard and all I get is like a color change for my lightsaber, after a while I'm kind of over it. I'm gonna be honest. I have like 45 lightsaber like material colors to choose from. And I just don't care.
How do you
just don't care?
How do you feel about like the most challenging part of the room? Excuse me, being a part where you go up and all you get is a sense echo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh. We'll talk about it in the review.
That's why, yeah. I really like Survivor, but like it's not doing enough for me. Where I'm like, I'm just gonna play Zelda. Unfortunately.
I know
like, compared to Fallen Order, they made like the open feeling of the game superior.
Yes,
but like to me that doesn't mean a lot if it's all kind of fruitless to go through.
Yep. If you don't care about customization, literally 90% of that stuff is kind of nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the only other advantage is like being able to get more skill points because you encounter more enemies by doing exploration.
Oh, that's true. And you find
then you can unlock more abilities and that kind of thing. And like, cool, but like, anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Not really. Yes,
but I'll also say that there are parts of me that even started to get a little bit frustrated. I mean, once again, I'm still very early in Jedi Survivor, but there are definitely parts where I saw like a stim extender, but it was on the other side of a gorge, and there was a door that I could not open, and I'm just like, I have to like put a mental mark until I'm able to open this door and explore this thing again. But I do agree that even with Fallen Order, there are times where I'm like exploring, and I get this really hard puzzle, and I'm like, yes, I got this, and it's like all I get is a goddamn poncho.
Ben, what I will say about Survivor is the map is much better. Because those things you're talking about, if you look, Ben, they're now going to be yellow, and it'll say undiscovered area. So like if
Okay.
you couldn't open the door, the map tells you, hey, by the way, when you were around here, you couldn't open that door.
That's Resident
And
Evil.
like it's much better. The map system is much better than it was the first time around. So like, and there's fast travel, and so like that feels better.
Yeah.
In terms of doing exploration, because I've definitely had that where I'm like, oh, where didn't I go here? And I pull up the map and it's like yellow door here, yellow door here, yellow door here. Oh, cool. I didn't go through there. And they've also been good about like marking things in red, which means like you can't do that yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Come back later.
Yeah, I will say though, it felt good when I fought my first like really hard boss, and it was on a side quest into a mine on Kobo, where you fight a Rancor.
Oh my god! Oh, Ben, that Rancor, I spent like an hour fighting.
Yeah,
that, and I was
45 minutes.
I play Dark Souls. I am not turning my difficulty down.
Then this is so funny because I'm a good 8 or 9 hours into the game. I have not encountered that Rancor yet.
Oh, that's funny. Because there's a specific spot where like you're supposed to go left, but if you go right, you just fall into a hole and it's there.
Yeah.
So I think you just missed it.
Yeah.
But he's totally gonna kick your ass later.
Oh,
That's
that's
an
true.
awful fight. I don't think that's the type of game
what I did stumble on is running through the enemy campaign area on Kobo, and there's a part where like you kill a bunch of battle droids and then you go to collect an item that's right in the center. And the floor drops out beneath you, and then you have to fight a frog monster that hits way too hard.
Ogdo-Bogdo's child.
Yeah.
The child of Ogdo-Bogdo
hits way too hard.
Yeah, that.
Out of curiosity, what difficulty are you guys playing on? I'm playing on the medium Jedi Knight.
The standard.
The standard.
Yeah, me too. And yet that Rancor fight was still stupid hard.
No, that's the type of game. Again, we'll talk about it with our review, but like,
we will. But
Dark Souls is Dark Souls, and then other people who try to be Dark Souls, like, it's just not the same.
Okay, so outside of that, I started the Muppets Mayhem. That's the Electric Mayhem focused Muppet show that just came out on Disney Plus. 2 episodes in, it's very good. I really like it. I think it lives in the world of massive Muppet media, the context of like the Muppets being the celebrities that they are, and like the Electric Mayhem being this band that kind of everybody loves, and everybody just like kind of just blips out of their mind that they never made an album.
Yeah.
And then like when they get told that, they're like, that can't be true. Oh wait. It's funny. I really like the human characters that they've put around them. I think that the setup works, and the Electric Mayhem are very entertaining 2 episodes in without any of the other Muppet characters needing to be present.
Hell yeah.
I think it's working. This is the most I've enjoyed one of the Disney Plus Muppets products so far.
Nice.
I really, really like this one. This feels much more in line with like something, if you're not doing like a straight up Muppet show again, this is more in the line of what the kind of thing I want you to make. It's much more spiritually close, just focused on Electric Mayhem, to what the ABC Muppet Show was doing, which I liked. So Kaiju number 8, I had a new chapter come out, and I'm staying caught up on that. And the only reason I really, really wanted to spotlight it is because I will be as delicate around spoiling too much as possible. One of the big dangerous monsters has created little monsters in like the shadow image of some of our main heroes, and one of them gets defeated after many chapters here. And as she's laying there dying, you kind of get like her backstory and how like she's told by this head monster that because she's created in the shadow image of the other, she's like this dark reflection, and so she's craving parental love. And she says, like, do you love me? Because that's the thing I need you to say. And it's like, if you kill the person I created you to kill, I'll love you. And as she lays defeated and dying, she kind of has like a mind connection with the hero who killed her. And she realizes that like, he was never going to love me and I never mattered anyway.
Aww.
And then dies into oblivion. And like, oh, guys.
That's rough.
It was a rough piece of Kaiju number 8. Highly recommend you going and catching up when you have the chance. Speaking of that kind of thing, I also, because it happened at the same time, read the latest chapter of Chainsaw Man. And I only want to spotlight that one because there were 2 pages that made me laugh the fuck out loud. And what they were is that Chainsaw Man is saving a woman, and as they are going away, they're trying to get away faster from a giant demon. And so she says, steal that motorcycle, Chainsaw Man, please. And he looks down and he's like, don't be stupid. I can't steal that. There's a woman on there. She's riding it. I can't do that. And then she points to another motorcycle and it's a dude on. She's like, well, steal that guy's then. And then immediately the next panel is him kicking the side of the motorcycle saying, beat it. And like, just does not care once there is a dude on the motorcycle. Just smashes it. Just says, get out of here. I love Chainsaw Man.
That's great.
Which is very apt because I had, excuse me, my goodness, I'm still recovering from my cough.
He was a little sicky.
Mm-hmm. I was muting my mic a bunch last week when I was dealing with this. I had, for personal reasons happening at home, a lot of downtime where I was kind of downstairs with nothing to do. But I wasn't really in the space where I wanted to work on network stuff. So I decided to watch Chainsaw Man because I was mad that I didn't catch up on it. And I watched the entire season this week. I love that manga. It's no secret that I've said that it's an incredible manga. I think it's excellent. I liked that show when I watched the first episode. I thought it was really good. I thought they did a great job of capturing the characters. And the animation was stellar. I still have that opinion. However, when I watched the first episode, the dub was not out. I have now watched the dub of Chainsaw Man because that's what I did for the remaining episodes. And that shit is so funny. They have captured those characters so well, and like the timing and pacing like that they are doing to land the comedy of certain characters, it literally blew me away. Like I thought I would have a problem with the fact that like when I pictured in my head that when Denji, our main character, turns into Chainsaw Man, that the voice would change, but it really doesn't. But now it kind of works for me. When I read it, I kind of imagined it a different way, but I like this. I can't quite quantify how great the dub is, except to say that there's this scene where basically a character is talking to Denji and saying, so you're basically you're going to keep doing this so that Makima will sleep with you. And it just cuts to him and he's like, yeah. And then he's just like, yeah, that's exactly how he says it. And then it cuts back to her and she's like, even if she turns out to have the shittiest personality, and it cuts straight back to him and he's like, I like shit. That's it. And I am so impressed with the dub performances on that show. I'm so impressed with the animation. The story is an excellent story. I will admit, I'm kind of stunned the finale ended where it did. It's not the stopping point I thought they were going to do. And it's not the one I maybe would have picked. But if they could only do the amount of episodes they could for the quality level, I'm fine. I still think it's a good... They end an arc. It's just not the arc I thought it would be. Highly recommend. It's on Hulu. Go watch it. The dub is excellent. The sub is good too, but the dub is excellent. There's an episode in the middle of this season that is... How
many episodes are in a season?
12.
I can do that.
There's an episode in the middle of the season that is like Cyberpunk Edgerunners level of like, yeah, you're going to be upset about that one.
Oh yeah. I love being upset.
And it only gets worse from where this season ended.
I'm into it. it.
But like, whoa, man, they really nailed it. It's special. I love Chainsaw Man.
Real quick. Hey, Grayson, thanks for showing up. No need to apologize. Yeah. Anytime you show up for a 30 seconds, even 1 second, I'm happy you're here. But thanks for showing up. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I'll touch on is that while Ryan was playing a bunch of Tears of the Kingdom, he also happened to be sitting on the couch next to me while this entire household was watching Yellow Jackets.
Of course.
We just finished the first season. That show's real good.
I'm so happy.
My fiance was this close to starting Yellow Jackets the other day, and I was telling her, I was like, talk to Ryan Sparks about that show. They'd love it.
Yeah, that show's very, very good. Very, very hard to put down. I was happy today because I found out I was doubly right about a character in terms of theories. I was very proud of myself. I nailed it in 2. I was like, yes, got him. I knew who this guy was from beat 1.
He's a great guy is what he is.
Yeah.
Except for the black belt.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's such low level compared to
like
else
cannibalism.
He was being put up against. There's no book club.
So yeah, Yellow Jackets, a show that I've loved. And I'm happy my roommates are a part of it. It's about a group of soccer girls in 1996, and they crash land in the wilderness, and they survive for almost 2 years doing what? Lots of terrible shit, lots of awful, spooky stuff. And also it haunts them in the future. It's a dual timeline story. It's just fantastic. Season 2 ends this coming week, and I'm just gonna be so sad because it's gonna be like a year, 2 years with the writer's strike. Who knows?
Probably 2 because it was 2 already.
Yeah. So I'm just glad that we've gotten here. I'm just glad my friends are here to watch it too, because it's a great show. I think
It's a really great show.
Some like it is, yeah, like graphic and like scary, but like the thing that I'm so attracted to is like the performances and the characters. I just like I told you before, like Misty Quigley, Christina Ricci's character is one of the most like insane characters I've ever seen on TV, but she's so good. I would watch an entire show just about Misty. She's so captivating and evil, but like fun. It's a performance of a lifetime.
So like I like the first 2 seasons of Arrow fine. But when the show started and they said like, yeah, it was 5 years ago, and they're like, yeah, for the next 5 seasons, we'll be doing like jumping back between him being on the island and not.
Yeah.
I expected it to get weird and difficult like this show does, not maybe to the same degree because it's a CW, but that it would be that kind of endurance thing. And like it makes me chuckle because like season 3 they abandoned that entirely and he got off the island.
Yeah,
and season 4 he goes back to the island.
I remember
and then season 5 if he leaves the island then goes back to the island again. So like they were like, we can't possibly come up with enough story to keep him on the island for 5 years.
Yeah.
And draw it out. And I'm like, man, this show's killing it.
Yeah.
Just killing it.
And the trajectory of like how fast things are happening, because you know these girls, we know they get rescued almost 19 months after it happens. So like, and we see from episode 1 they're doing murder cannibalism, like as like we see like before they get picked up. So like the slow burn of how we're getting there, it's so good. It's so good. It's not going too fast, too slow. Like it makes sense that these things are happening as they're happening.
But importantly, I mentioned it to my wife that like we don't know of our modern day characters we're following what level of bad they were on the cannibalism scale and all that kind of stuff, and who they were on the like perpetrating it and like going full.
It's still too early.
Going full tilt crazy. We only know one of them where they were, and the other 3 we don't. And like I just assume they're all bad people. But like they're muddying those waters, and so it's like I don't know. Who knows?
It's really, everyone's complicated. It's an incredible show.
Yeah. Real good. Okay. I think that'll do it.
Cheers
for our weekly roundup, friends. So let's go ahead and get into our bread and butter.
Bread and butter.
Yum, 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 yum. Look at little Babs. What is this?
I need more Zelda in my life.
Is that your Switch?
No, it's my Legend of Zelda Game and
Watch.
Watch.
God, that's it. That's a tiny.
I was like, that doesn't look right.
That's a cool ass looking Switch.
No, it's my Zelda Game and Watch.
It's cute.
That I got a while ago. That I had, because 35th. Anyways, let's ignore that. Babs, bread and butter.
All right,
news.
friends.
A lot of shit going
some
down.
Sad news up top.
Mm-hmm.
John Rafua died. He was the editor on Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water. Those are the most notable large, high-profile films. He passed away from bile cancer on May 14th. He was 58 years old.
No.
He was also an editor on Transformers: Last Night, Geostorm, and Law and Order for a long time, to name a few.
Hey, man, editors, their job's important.
Yeah, and 58, just bummer age to lose.
Yeah, bile cancer. That sounds awful. That's a bummer.
It will be interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Cancer sucks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It will be interesting to see a different editor on the next Avatar.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's very sad.
Yeah.
Brendan O'Brien passed away at 60. You know who this is, Ben?
I'm looking at the thing right now, and I'm very upset.
Yeah, Brendan O'Brien is an actor and musician who appeared in Riverdale and Grindhouse, but most notably was known for his work as Crash Bandicoot, where he played the title hero Dr. Neocortex and Tiny Tiger. This was all before the latest Crash, so the original trilogy stuff.
Yeah.
This was pulled from his obit. One of his proudest moments was coming up with the original voices for the Crash Bandicoot video games during the Naughty Dog years of 1996 to 2004. He encouraged nostalgic Crash fans in their own pursuits and loves signing their memorabilia. Like music, designing character voices for animation, radio, and video games came naturally to him. So passed away at 60.
Dang.
That's and the neocortex. Even he
did all the voices.
He did.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
He was Crash, Dr. Neocortex, and Tiny Tiger.
That's crazy.
I mean, I cannot tell you how many times when I was a kid, when my brother and I would be playing Crash Bandicoot 3, we would, every time like something happened, we would always go, "Whoa!" We would imitate the "whoa" that you hear in the video games.
Yeah.
And this sucks.
Yeah, that's a video game icon.
Yeah, even like Dr. Neocortex himself, like in the Crash games, he had like such a gravitas to him in all of his cutscenes, and man, that's a bummer. I'm sad now.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm glad he's resting, but at the same time, I would say that he was a video game icon, even though we didn't know exactly who he was.
Yeah.
Details of his passing have not been made public at this time. And lastly, Jim Brown. I'm going to go on for a little bit about this one. Pro Football Hall of Famer Jim Brown, unstoppable running back who retired at the peak of his career to become an actor as well as a prominent civil rights advocate during the 1960s, has died of natural causes. He was 87 years old. He participated in the Cleveland Summit after Muhammad Ali faced imprisonment for refusing to enter the draft for the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And he founded the Black Economic Union to help promote economic opportunities for minority-owned businesses. He later launched a foundation focused on diverting at-risk youth from violence through teaching them life skills, through which he facilitated the Watts truce between rival street gangs in Los Angeles.
Damn.
So very influential person.
Yeah.
As an actor, you would know him for appearances on Knight Rider, The A-Team, The Running Man, and Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
Was he the general in Mars Attacks?
No, he's the guy who's trying to get to his family in Mars Attacks.
Oh God, I love them.
Yeah, that's Jim Brown.
Yeah, I didn't know he had such like a. I only know him from like showing up in movies. I had no idea he did all this awesome work. That's incredible.
Yeah. And he also has like this like impeccable record when he went out in his football career, which I also didn't know about until this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What a life.
He's like my favorite character in Mars Attacks too. Of all the characters, I wanted him to get back to his family. And when the helicopter flies away and he's still in his Egyptian uniform in Vegas, the king, and he's just punching out all these aliens. I'm just like, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die. And then you see him in that movie, you're like, yes.
Is that a Tim Burton movie?
Yeah,
that might be his like best, like his most underrated movie.
Yeah,
I think Mars Attacks is incredible.
Yeah,
I feel like nobody talks about that movie.
Maybe one day we will soon. It is being discussed as being on our real score.
Oh,
because the score for that movie is kind of all over the place. But yeah, Jim Brown, incredibly influential figure,
that's awesome.
Especially in civil rights terms. Like, what a loss, but a long life as well.
Yeah,
strong legacy.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on from there, friends. We're going to talk a little bit about the writer's strike.
It's not over. They didn't give them all the money.
So the writer's strike is ongoing. This isn't actually technically about what they're doing right now. What it is about is that while that strike is continuing, SAG-AFTRA may be entering the fight officially. This week, the National Board for SAG-AFTRA voted unanimously, for those who need clarification. This is the Screen Actors Guild. This is the Actors Union representation. They voted unanimously to recommend union members authorize a strike in lead up to negotiations on their contracts June 7th. So this doesn't mean that a strike is authorized yet, but the board has said this is what we should do.
We want to do it.
And there will be a secondary vote to say, yes, we have authorized a strike. Here's a quote from the union. An affirmative vote does not mean a strike would necessarily happen, but it would allow the national board to call on it if deemed necessary during the negotiation process. The action comes following a unanimous agreement by the TV Theatrical Negotiating Committee that the strike authorization will give the union maximum bargaining leverage as it enters this round of negotiations with the AMPTP.
Man, this is great.
So they're hoping that if they authorize a strike, they'll get what they want, won't have to do it. That they'll be able to get everything they want in negotiations. However, we know that one of the reasons this is happening is because they are just as concerned about the residual pay for actors with streamers as the writers are.
Yeah.
It's the same problems for a different group.
Yep.
So, and AI, same thing. The AI contracts are also a problem. So if those two sticking points are still something the studios aren't going to work with them on, they will strike as well.
I got a feeling that they won't give in to the demand. So this is like the strike's happening. Everyone get on it while you can. This is the moment to like, we need to fight back. And like, if actors, like, you want to see, like, if you're online, like, you see how many actors are supporting all the writers. Like, you see Chris Pine and like Mandy Patinkin and like all these people showing up because they're like, hey, like, I'm a pretty face, I'm an actor, I'm not a writer. I don't make the scripts, writers do. So like, everybody knows how important writers are, except for the people upstairs. If actors are also going to be in on this, then there is no movie making. Like, you can make a movie without a script that'll be bad, but you can make a movie without a script. You cannot make a movie without actors.
So that's
awesome.
The other group everyone's still waiting for to make some kind of move is the Directors Guild.
Yeah.
Their contracts are still a little further out from needing negotiation, but everyone's wondering if the Directors Guild will make a motion around what SAG-AFTRA is talking about doing. Notably, they haven't performed a strike in the film and TV industry since the merger of SAG and AFTRA in 2012. Their last strike against the studios was in 1980, a 95-day walkout that established contract terms for pay TV and video cassettes. Just to make you clear on how old that would be.
This has been showing up on Twitter of like, hey, here's all the times that strikes have happened in like the 50s and the 80s where like things actually happen. And it's like, if you fight for it, these things are possible. You just have to fight really hard for it. And it's like, again, like, this is like this feels like forward momentum for the industry. Because like we're 3 weeks into this now, right? We're not stopping anytime soon. The writers aren't going to stop. So like, this feels like they have to give in eventually. You'd hope, because like otherwise, like, what are they going to do? Just like AI CG everything? Like, we're not there yet.
It's already like the studios have already lost the amount of more than the amount of money this year from not giving into these demands than they would have paid the writers this year.
Yeah,
they've already lost it. It's already like, because of productions that have had to be stopped or stalled or delayed or whatever.
Oh, this is not relevant to this, but David Zaslav was at like Boston University.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
And he got booed, and there was chanting, "Pay your writers." And the fun thing is, like, David Zaslav, like, he asked a bunch of different universities if he could speak, and a lot of them said no. Boston was like the third choice or something. Like, they didn't even want him, and he still got booed there. And I'm like, yeah, fight back.
Someone pointed out on Twitter that he has become like the face of corporate entertainment, and like it going wrong.
Yes,
and I think that's so funny and so deserved.
Absolutely.
It definitely is, because all the moves he's been making are some dumb moves. I mean, we'll talk about dumb moves that another corporation is doing later on.
He started it.
Yeah, he started it, and we'll get there.
This shit.
We said it. Like, once somebody pulls the pin on, we can take stuff offline, everybody starts to do it.
That's why the striking is happening.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on the strike stuff, Ben, before we move on? We will get back to what we're alluding to near the end.
Yeah. Pay your damn writers.
Yeah, of course. Pay everybody what they're owed.
Yeah.
Residuals. The thing is, like, people, I understand, like, people who don't read up on this or pay attention to this, they don't understand the importance of the residuals. The residuals are the thing that guarantee people a secure, like, ability to afford to live off of their career when they are in between jobs. And when they are, like, if they're not getting residuals, then they're not able to sustain a living.
Yeah.
Working in entertainment.
Because, like, it's not like
because not every writer and not every actor is working all the time.
Yeah, like a writer does not work 2 weeks. They don't write for 2 weeks and then get a 2-week paycheck like we do. They get a one lump sum a lot of the time. Like, hey, and then write the script for us, and then they'll never see any more money out of that. Or sometimes they will, depending on their agent and stuff like that. But
or
like,
depending if we're talking about television,
absolutely, yeah,
what level and all these kinds of things. But like, residuals is what is able to carry them through so that they can sustain a living. This isn't about them like living in the upper class. This is about them living out of poverty.
Yeah, not being poor
while they are pursuing their dream and fulfilling like the massive entertainment industry that we all care about.
I said it 2 weeks ago, but like it's still relevant. Like one of the writers of The Bear, my favorite TV show of last year, Emmy-winning best TV show of the year, The Bear. He had negative money in his bank account, striking on the line, and I'm just like, how does this happen? I'm so glad the strike is happening. Like, it sucks, like, that these people aren't getting paid right now. Like, they are all working, not doing anything right now. They're striking for the future. But it has to happen, or otherwise, like, nothing will change. And it feels,
and the industry will collapse in on itself if they don't.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen what was it, ABC or something? They're rerunning like $100,000 Pyramid on Friday nights. Like, you guys are failing so bad.
We are with the writers and we're with the actors if they strike as well.
Yeah.
I hope that I hope that they all get what they want and what they deserve.
Just pay people. See, so easy.
Moving on to some film and television news. The CW has officially scrapped shows. This is just an official confirmation of shows that are no longer with them. The CW is essentially no longer pursuing any prospective series that was put into development during the network's old regime before Nexstar. So this includes the live-action Powerpuff Girls show, the Justice U show, an Archie Comics-inspired Jake Chang, and a female-led Zorro reboot. Now, that being said, there is a chance that some of these prospective shows aren't entirely dead, as the respective studios that owned them and were pitching them to CW, they now have everything back from what was being worked on, and they can pitch it to other platforms or networks. Time will tell if that will happen. I would suspect that the Powerpuff Girl one and Justice U are dead.
Oh, is someone going to pick up Gotham Knights? Oh, no.
Well, Gotham Knights is not part of this because this is all the prospective series, things that weren't put into practice before Nexstar took over. So, like, Gotham Knights had a season come out.
Oh.
These are things that they never even made it to full development.
Okay.
That's what they're saying is, like, these are absolutely all of these are gone. They're not pursuing any of these, and now it's just like they are apparently looking at like what they still have that has been released that they're going to keep around, but it seems like almost nothing.
Well,
at the rate that they've been canceling shows.
Not a huge loss.
No. That Powerpuff Girl script was always terrible, and
they went back for seconds. It still wasn't enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Some Mortal Kombat 2 casting is out there.
Whoa! He's about to get his soul sucked.
Tati Gabrielle, who's best known for her work in the Netflix show You, as well as The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
She's great.
She is in final negotiations to play Jade.
This is great.
She has not closed a deal, according to Deadline, I think.
Hope she gets it.
She's great. She's very spicy, and Jade is a very spicy character, whether she's good or bad. So like that's great. I just love that we're getting another Mortal Kombat movie. That's great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm really happy that's happening. I hope that it's better than the others have been.
Yeah. We like that last one.
I meant like the other sequel and
sure,
like that.
No,
I hope like it only gets better from here.
Yes, no,
yeah. So it does take a nosedive like from the original Mortal Kombat '94 movie, or was it '95 or whatever, the '90s movie, and then into Annihilation, because that was a hard nosedive. Whereas this one goes up and oh god.
Speaking of potential hard nosedives, the Venom 3 casting, Deadline reports that Chiwetel Ejiofor has closed a deal for an unknown role in Venom 3.
It's more Baron Mordo.
Yeah, moving over from Doctor Strange to Venom.
That's so funny.
Wow.
We're never gonna see.
He's never gonna be
Mordo again.
He's never gonna be Baron Mordo ever again. God. Carl Mordo.
That's just gonna be left dead.
That post-credit will never.
Yeah, that whole thing was like, no, too many sorcerers. It's like you had such potential.
No, but what if, guys? What if he is Mordo in this?
That'd be wild.
I'm just saying, would that make you a little more excited? I'm gonna be honest. I love Chewie. I love Chewie. I don't know why he would be in a Venom movie, but like,
maybe if he does turn out to be Mordo, okay.
Who's it gonna be? Just like a cop or like some dude?
So
like
just another multiverse version of Mordo.
Yeah,
maybe another multiverse version.
I don't know why you would get him in a Venom movie. He's like, because it's kind of in the Marvel universe, you know. It's like it's kind of weird, but
I don't know why you get Matt Smith in a Morbius movie, but
no, but he's not in a Marvel.
No,
movie
he's not in a Marvel movie. Yeah, I hear you.
It's morbid.
Yeah, it's weird. Pink Panther. Eddie Murphy is in negotiations to star as Inspector Clouseau in a new Pink Panther film. Sonic the Hedgehog filmmaker Jeff Fowler is directing from a script by Chris Bremner with Julie Andrews producing.
Okay.
It is supposedly a live action CG hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can take that a few ways. This might mean that frankly, they might do something I've always kind of wanted them to do with
the Pink Panther's a real character.
With a Pink Panther film, which is that Inspector Clouseau sees the Pink Panther cartoon character, but nobody else does, and it accounts for some of his wacky behavior.
Let me tell you,
see.
I listened to the Weekly Planet podcast, and they were talking about growing up. I always thought, without seeing it, that the Pink Panther was an actual thing in the movie. And when you watch those movies, those are just like silly detective stories, and there's not an animated Pink Panther character.
He's in the
those movies.
credits.
He's not an actual character in any of those things. And that always blew my mind. And then I saw the Steve Martin movie, and he's not in there at all either. And I'm like, why is there a Pink Panther at all in this at all anyway? I never understood it.
I never saw the Pink Panther films because when I hear a film called The Pink Panther, and I remember seeing cartoons of the Pink Panther, I'm like, where's the Pink Panther? It's just Steve Martin doing a funny accent.
Right, so the cartoons are kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
And we're all about, like, the Pink Panther was essentially like a stand-in for like a thief Inspector Clouseau could never catch.
Mm-hmm.
And in the live action films, the Pink Panther is a diamond. And it is still this thing that like eludes him. It's always at the center of a story, but the actual like panther is a visual aesthetic that they brought over from the cartoon into the intro titles for the films. But
I think I never understood.
No, yeah, absolutely. Neither did I.
Yeah.
But like I've always wanted one where like Clouseau is seeing this cartoon panther that no one else sees.
Yeah.
And like it's kind of guiding him along.
Like giving him ideas, good or bad.
Yeah.
Like almost like a Mr. Magoo kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You know, I can see
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I could see Eddie Murphy play off that pretty well.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that that's what they mean when they say live action CG hybrid, because I could see that really working for me. If it's like, I don't mind a live action interaction with a CG character if only one person can see it.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
If he's like a little cuckoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
And also, this is to acknowledge Grace in the chat. This is about Ejiofor jumping from Marvel to Sony Marvel, saying, "You were the chosen one. You're supposed to bow to Marvel, not leave it in dark."
You were supposed to be the villain of Doctor Strange.
Okay. Last thing in film and television, Futurama has announced a premiere date for its Hulu season. It'll be July 24th. There was a short teaser release this week with the announcement, and the episodes will release weekly.
Y'all, this is the third or fourth time the show's been revitalized. That's insane.
Yeah.
And I have not watched any of the new
And
stuff.
that depends on if you're counting like the
Comedy Central,
4 straight to DVD films that they did like as an in-between.
Those count because those are good. Those are good. I watched.
No. I meant like as another revival thing, because like that was like they weren't doing another season of the show at the time.
Yes,
they were like, we are coming back for these 4 movies. That's it.
I consider
and then
that
a show season, then the show season.
I consider that an extension.
Yeah.
Of the first stuff.
Sure.
But I guess that's just like that's neither here nor there. I'm honestly like I love those first couple seasons of Futurama, but like I never watched the revival stuff that happened like on the other networks, and I haven't heard many people talk about it, to be honest. So like
I've watched all of Futurama.
All of it?
Yeah.
Really?
And I can say that I don't think any of it's bad.
Okay. But is any of it as good as the original stuff?
I'll put it in this context. The original stuff is classic.
Yeah.
Nothing in new Futurama is as bad as New Simpsons.
Okay.
Like it's still
okay.
It might not be like the top shelf, but it's just one shelf down.
Okay.
It's not bottom of the barrel.
Okay. Because I was obsessed with Futurama as a teen.
Love Futurama. What
Yeah.
I've seen all of it, and I'm telling you, like the newer stuff, it's not A+, but it's not lower than a B+.
I remember the last time I think we talked about on the podcast that like Phil Lamar wasn't getting paid or something, and he wasn't coming back.
It was Bender.
John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio.
That's right.
And yeah, he held out for a long time, and then they worked out a deal.
That's
so
right.
he is back.
Okay. Yeah. That feels like a lifetime ago we talked about that.
Yeah. Because it was when they announced it, and he was holding out because he was like, I know what I'm worth, and the others are just not doing it. Well,
cool. Hey, like that gives me hope to actually catch up because I love that show, man.
I recommend it. Like I was never upset with watching any more Futurama.
Okay.
I remember like the last episode did bring a tear to my eye. Like the last episode of the Comedy Central revival series.
Yeah.
For Futurama, that was I thought that was like a really well done finale.
Ben, remind me, is that the one where time goes like all the way around again?
Nope, it's the one where Fry and Leela are stuck in time. Everything is frozen around them.
Okay, yeah. No, so in the revival, there are a couple of episodes that like get you just as good as some of the originals.
I think of Jurassic Bark, and like my life is over every time.
Yeah. There's ones that get close to that level.
Yeah, hell yeah.
For sure.
Death by Snooze. What a show! What a great show!
Death by Snooze. Death by Snooze 2 has just been like. I just love how Futurama has taken roots in popular culture and just like random phrases on the internet. Because there's like things around like the internet where like our TikToks where people go or they see like this big gorgeous Amazonian style woman, and people are like, "Death by snoo snoo, death by snoo snoo,"
Yeah,
or
for sure.
or of course like
will-
the ever famous "Shut up and take my money."
Oh yeah.
Or I'll do my own. It's like I'll have my own Mario Kart with blackjack and hookers. You know what? Forget the Mario Kart.
I think to end my love of Futurama, like, going to the Amazon scene again, it's like, what is Snoop Snoop? Oh, it's death by sex, and you're like,
Yeah.
like you're happy and sad at the same time. Oh my god!
I will
totally.
say it's been a while. It's been a while since I watched the revival stuff, but I do feel like Futurama has benefited in a way that a lot of its contemporaries haven't from the time away. Because when it goes off air and then it comes back, it feels like a lot of the creatives have had good ideas for a Futurama story. It might not be every single episode,
Yeah.
but a lot of them, like, you get the feeling like you thought of this sometime in the interim and really like stewed on it and thought about and perfected it. And so like they come back punching harder and hitting higher quality belt levels than a lot of the other shows do. Because they're not trying to just roll on through again and again.
I'll jump back into it.
That being said, I am the most nervous about this one.
Yeah.
Because this one felt more forced.
Yeah.
Than the previous revival did,
Mhm.
where it felt more like, yeah, we really wanted to bring it back. We had a lot of great stuff to. I haven't heard a lot of that. I've heard more of just like, Disney want more Futurama? Here you go.
Disney, yeah.
That's that. I haven't heard a lot of people saying like, yeah, there was a lot of like good drive to want to do this, like So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay, Dead by Daylight had their 7th anniversary stream this week.
Incredible! What a game.
And just ahead of that was a small teaser showing that Nicolas Cage is coming to the game. We don't know as a survivor, a killer, both.
What if he's Dracula? What if he's Renfield Dracula? He's a survivor.
I'm 100% convinced he's going to be both.
I hope so. I know he's a survivor. I just don't know if if they would be cool enough to have both.
I hope it's a Porque no las dos situation where it's like you could be Nicolas Cage just serve as a survivor, Nicolas Cage, or Nicolas Cage as Dracula.
Yeah.
And like if he's Dracula, he can also like you can give him his like vampire's kiss like alternate outfit and stuff.
Oh my god.
We're told to anticipate more details on Nicolas Cage in July. So July 5th. We'll hear more about that.
Sounds good.
However, then the 7th anniversary stream happened. So excuse me, Vice President of Marketing at Behavior, Luc Duchesne, confirmed that the feature film with James Wan's Atomic Monster Studio and Blumhouse is currently seeking both a screenwriter and a director for the project. They're probably going to be seeking for a while because the writers are striking.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's where the project is right now, and it's continuing in active development that they want to see it made.
Cool.
The first edition of a Dead by Daylight comic will be available in print and digital in June. It will serve as a prequel that will focus on the Legion's origin and explains how the gang of masked sickos all found kinship in one another. Do you all remember the Legion?
Yeah.
The Legion's
They're
the weird mask.
The Purge guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Fast Knife guys.
So it's a story about them.
Cool.
It's going to be published by Titan Comics. The book is written by Harvey Award winner Nadia Shamas and illustrated by Dylan Snook with Emilio Lecce on colors.
Cool.
So, comic coming?
I'm into what is, because there is a lot of lore behind the scenes and stuff. Like, I'm curious, like, what is the world where like these people like are living in a world full of killers? That's gotta be awful. Yeah.
And then came the announcement that there are other games in development.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
So Midwinter Entertainment, a subsidiary of Behavior Interactive that was acquired back in 2022, is currently hard at work on a PvE title that will tackle themes of greed and lust for power. That's the pull quote for it.
Ooh.
Duchesne was quick to stress, however, that it will not be a sequel to Dead by Daylight. Instead, he described it as a fresh take on the universe that will give teams of 4 a chance to explore strange new corners of the entity's realm.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So we're looking at something maybe in the Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, Aliens Fireteam Elite kind of area. So hopefully that really hits.
Yeah.
We're probably a long way out from it, but it's still cool to hear.
Yeah.
The other one is that Supermassive Games, which is best known for Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures Anthology and The Quarry. They have reached a partnership, and Duchesne confirmed that it will pretty much be what we've come to expect from the team that brought us those games. Hinting as to what's in store, he said, "This is a brand new single-player interactive story game set in the world of Dead by Daylight. It will be an intense narrative experience filled with life or death choices."
This is of all these announcements, this is the most exciting because like
Absolutely.
I love, even though not all of their games are 10 out of 10s, like the type of games they make, which are like horror Telltale games, like horror point and click adventures, they're unrivaled in what they do. And the Quarry, the newest one, was awesome. And then like 8 years ago they made Until Dawn, which is incredible, and then they made a bunch of games which are pretty okay, and then they made the Quarry, which is incredible. So like they still got it. This makes me really excited. Partnering and like seeing again those characters in different scenarios. With like the fidelity that these games look, like they look so good, and they always get really incredible cast, like really famous people, like Hayden Panettiere and David Arquette, and like all these people. So like I'm really excited about this one.
Dead by Daylight is an over $1 billion franchise, so I'm not surprised that they're going to keep expanding.
It's that game is so big.
Yeah,
like it is not Fortnite. Nothing will be Fortnite, but for being a horror-centric game, this game's huge. It's one of the biggest multiplayer games of all time. And again, 7 years into it, and they're still adding more stuff. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
it is. But that to me, that just like shows how popular and how many people play Dead by Daylight. I can't tell you how many times I'm like scrolling through my TikTok or my Twitter feed, and people are saying, "Hey, I'm live playing Dead by Daylight right now." I'm like, "Oh wow, people are still playing that game." And
big stream game. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's just goes to show how people love it and how they found the secret sauce. It's a live service game that these people found the secret sauce to make them viable and to continue on. And yes, there are like, there's microtransactions, of course, but at the same time, it's like you do this to get killers, and these killers have different abilities, and all these killers, everything is different. There's all these little things you could use to play the game.
They also go on sale all the time.
Oh yeah,
like once you get a certain date past a point, like they sale them all the time. They really want you to be able to get these killers eventually.
We didn't play it, but the Ghostface killer is in Dead by Daylight, and I bought one of his outfits on sale when Scream 6 came out.
Yeah,
because it was on sale. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I was so happy when I put the money in to get Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And the data mining and like the leaker stuff has already been happening, and they've seen that there's going to be like 5 like killers released in the next couple of years, and like a bunch of them are apparently really big names, like Jason Voorhees and stuff. So like they're not done getting every character they possibly can.
And I love that they're very good about, here's an IP, here's an original idea, and the original idea looks cool and fun and adds something different. Yeah. We'll get back to playing more of that later this year.
I would love to see, like movie versions of all these, of like the Doctor or like the twins. Yeah, like that'd be cool.
Okay, moving on from Dead by Daylight into comics. Daredevil. Saladin Ahmed and Aaron Kuder are taking over Daredevil with a new #1 in September, following a final issue from Zdarsky in August. Zdarsky and Ahmed got together this week and talked about the baton passing on an episode of This Week in Marvel.
Ooh, the Billy
so if you want to hear
passing,
more about that, so if you want to hear more about that, go check out that podcast episode.
That's great. Zdarsky's been on Daredevil for many, many years. Daredevil is one of those characters who, again, has had almost unanimously good runs. There's only a couple bad runs, maybe in his decades of being around. Saladin Ahmed is a great talent. He's a guy writing Miles.
I was gonna say he's coming from Miles.
Yeah. So like I have full faith that he'll do something great with Daredevil. Like again, like following Bendis and those people, and then following Charles Soule, following Zdarsky. Like it's layup after layup. So like he's got to bring it, but like I believe he can. Aaron Kuder also incredibly good artist. Oh my god.
I didn't grab the whole pull quote, but Ahmed did apparently on the episode talk about like pulling other Marvel characters that haven't been in Daredevil comics into the story in an unexpected way. So
I'm into that. I love people teaming up.
Death of the Venomverse is written by Colin Bunn with art by Gerardo Sandoval. It's launching in August. Death of the Venomverse will be a 5-issue limited series that unleashes Carnage on a quest to become the new King in Black. It's built up to, in its 4 titles, Cult of Carnage, Extreme Venomverse, Venom, and Carnage. Venom's still by Al Ewing.
Yep.
I'd be more excited about this event, I feel, if Ewing were doing it.
Yeah. Colin Bunn is kind of like, even though he's not writing the main book, he has like been like the main symbiote guy for like a decade at Marvel.
He did some of the best issues of the lead up to like the Absolute Carnage and King in Black stuff. That I recently read. So like I have no qualms with that.
Yeah.
It's just like when Al Ewing does an event, like you feel like he owns it.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that's what we were getting right now, because
Yeah.
this feels like this cash in on an idea of a summer of symbiotes kind of thing.
Oh, 100%. The thing is, Ewing specifically right now is stretched really thin between now doing Thor and also doing X-Men stuff.
Right.
So I just don't think he has enough time to be the leader
for
of this
sure.
event.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I'm excited for it. Like, I like the idea of Carnage fighting the King of Black. I thought the King of Black died, but it's been a year or two since I read that event, so I gotta remember. I guess not.
Yeah.
I got
And
nothing.
you just alluded to it, Immortal Thor, which drops in August from Al Ewing with art by Martin Coccolo and a cover done by Alex Ross. When Polygon asked what he can share beyond the solicit, Ewing said, "Doors are indeed opening, buried secrets are waiting to be unearthed, and ancient gods, elder gods, if you will, are coming to bring trial and sorrow to Earth, Asgard, and Thor personally. And he's going to need to be his absolute highest self to face them. And even then, he might not make it through. The omens are sinister. The storm is at the gate."
All-time Thor run incoming. All-time Thor run incoming, y'all.
So yes, in the vein of Immortal Hulk, we are now getting Immortal Thor. So I got a new book to pick up.
Shit.
Simple as that.
Thor has also been lucky. Like, the Jason Aaron run lasted like a decade, and then some people did it, and Donny Cates did it. It's been great. Like, Thor's had a great run. This is gonna be like, oh, here we go, baby. Now we're talking.
Right.
Oh, baby, comic books. This is so exciting. I can't. There's anything Ewing touches is gold, but like doing the immortal thing for another book, it's like, oh no, you know what you're doing when you're calling it this book.
Right.
You're gonna win some awards, is what you want to say.
They didn't confirm it, but we can suspect that Alex Ross will be probably doing the main covers throughout the whole run, just as he did for Immortal Hulk.
Do another 50
I hope
issues.
so.
They've confirmed at least the first issue with Alex Ross.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
All of those covers are incredible.
Okay.
They are.
Any other thoughts on Immortal Thor, Ben?
I want it.
Yeah.
You know
Moving
what we
on.
don't want.
Moving on to the shittiest, maybe the shittiest news, I think, of the week. Even shittier.
This might be the
This-
shittiest
it's
comic
this-
news.
It's this and the Disney Plus thing that we'll get into later.
But in
Like,
terms of-
they're both fighting each other for like shittiest
Yeah.
news of the week.
In terms of comic book news, though, like this might be some of the worst comic news we've had in a long time.
Okay.
In terms of
So on sale May 31st, Amazing Spider-Man number 26 will see Miss Marvel killed in a heroic sacrifice.
the sacrifice, nobody
Heroic
saw coming.
sacrifice in quotes there. This is the official Marvel publicity quote.
After it was leaked, and then Marvel in 1 hour said, "Hey guys, stay offline because of leaks." 1 hour later, revealed it themselves because it was too far gone.
So this is like the actual press that Marvel put out itself.
Marvel
about.
Entertainment.
Officially revealed by Entertainment Weekly, the character's everlasting legacy and this storyline will continue in July with a special one-shot, Fallen Friend, The Death of Miss Marvel, an essential issue crafted by an all-star lineup of talent, including the return of the character's co-creator, G. Willow Wilson, the writer of Miss Marvel's last solo series, Saladin Ahmed, and Mark Waid, who not only brought Miss Marvel onto the Avengers, but also wrote her central role in the Team Book Champions.
Oh boy, people don't like Mark Waid writing her.
The heart of the Marvel Universe has stopped beating. Now join the other heroes of the Marvel Universe, the creators of Miss Marvel, and comic fans everywhere in honoring and remembering one of Marvel's brightest stars. This is disgusting.
So, first of all, characters dying in comics, that's not a big deal. That's not why people are mad. Characters die all the time. Characters die so often. In fact, the X-Men made it a plot point and like, hey, death is so stupid, we became immortal. Death can still happen, but we know it doesn't matter anymore. I don't mind them killing characters in comic books, right? Again, like as long as you build up to it, it makes sense. It feels good to the story. I feel the emotion. That's fine. Kamala Khan has barely been in this Spider-Man book. She is a side character. She doesn't have a solo series right now. She's been getting miniseries left and right, but they won't give her an ongoing. Her death is happening in a one-shot, not even a miniseries, a one-shot. The sacrifice nobody saw coming, because why would you kill your most popular and diverse character like 6 months before a movie comes out? Oh, I know why, because you want to turn her into a mutant before that movie comes out. This is the most cynical, sad thing Marvel's done in a long time. Like truly, like the day that I found this out, like I haven't been so mad at a comic thing in a long time. Because it's not that the fact that they're killing her. We know they're bringing her back to make her a mutant because they did that in the MCU. It's just the absolute worst synergy that we could possibly have with the MCU, and it makes me furious.
It's also important to note, real quick, that this is Asian American Pacific Islander Celebration Month, and they're killing a character represented by that group.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now in this month, killing a Muslim character, like, is for all intents and purposes seemingly fridging her for Peter Parker's development right now in his story.
Oh no, but the editor Nick Lowe said, "Guys, just wait till you read the story, then you'll say something different." As if anything that could happen in the story will make it okay that she's dying. No matter, listen, that book could be a 10 out of 10 great book. The way she sacrifices herself, wow, she really was a superhero. She sacrificed herself to be a hero. Yeah, because you wrote that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was naturally going to happen. You needed a shocking death. And the thing that makes me the most mad, again, if they didn't build this up so extensively, if for 6 months they haven't been saying this is the biggest event in Spider-Man's history in 50 years. This is the most important thing to happen to Spider-Man in 50 years. That's what they were saying. And it's not even about Spider-Man. It's about his friend dying. It's just, I can't believe it. I can't believe like we're doing this in the year of our Lord 2023. And it's not even in her own book. She's a side character. It's not even in issue like 20 or like 50. It's issue 26. It's not even like a good numbered issue. I'm just like, this is so gross on every conceivable level. And there's no amount of damage control that the Marvel editors can try to do on Twitter that will make people okay with this.
Honestly, sometimes you don't need synergy from films to comics. They could just be different, and that's totally okay.
Yeah. Also,
you don't need to constantly have your MCU characters be the comic book characters reflected off the MCU characters. You don't need that.
You don't even need the killer. Just do some stupid mumbo jumbo. Like,
no, the fact that freaking the fact that they want to kill her in a book that's not even her own is just one of the dumbest things ever. Because even when I saw the cover, because I didn't know the whole story until I looked at the news today, and I'm like, wow, that's because I was just like, people were, they were talking about shit on Twitter, and I was just scrolling through, not really paying attention to it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
we were doing it,
and I know you guys were. I know you guys were doing it. I saw you fighting. But yeah, this is dumb. This is a really dumb thing that Marvel is doing, and I'm not in the camp of like, oh, but they're just gonna bring comic book characters back because they do it all the time. Look at all the other 1.5 billion comic book characters who have died and then they came back 20 or X amount of issues later. Like you guys said, it's not the point. The point is like we need to figure out a way to synergize this with the MCU. Let's kill her and then make her back into a mutant. And it's just like, that's dumb. That is the stupidest thing. Just leave her be. Just let her have her own thing. And like you said, and also Ryan, it's really dumb that they're doing this in a non-big issue. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't when Superman died, that was a really big issue number, right?
They made like, it was like a whole thing. Yeah. No, like, again, like character, like, and it's not like, this is not like the nail breaker, but like when big things happen, it's generally like anniversary issues, like issue 50, like something big, but like issue 26 is just like a random issue of a comic book.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like nothing.
Yeah. Even like when going back to the death of Superman, all the Superman books were involved in telling the story of how he died. Like you had to pick up every single book to get the whole story of Doomsday, of them fighting, and how Doomsday killed Superman. This was just like, let's just put one issue out. That'll be fine.
And it's like,
that's like, really?
And the bummer is like, again, because Marvel loves solicits and they like to tell us what's coming out like 6 months before it actually happens. There is an X-Men book that doesn't have a title that's called Classified, and it's a 4-issue miniseries that's coming out around the same time that the Ms. Marvel movie is coming out, or excuse me, the Marvels is coming out. And I'm like, y'all aren't even like hiding it. Y'all aren't even hiding it. Like, we know what you're doing, and it's just so disingenuous. And again, like, no matter how many times, like, oh, you just wait till you read the story. There's nothing you can tell me in a single comic book issue that justifies the death of this character. If you maybe spend 25 issues building the relationship between Peter and Kamala, and they do have a good relationship. Like, we read a miniseries about them like switching bodies or hanging out or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
So like they have a relationship, but the comic that it's happening in, she's appeared in like 12 pages total over 25 issues. It's bananas.
I literally just thought of something that might have been better than any of this. Have her disappear. Have her go missing.
Okay.
And have like a decent storyline of Spider-Man trying to find Miss Marvel and then him realizing, oh no, she is like a really major part of my life. She is like one of my closest friends. And then when he finds her, find out that she was kidnapped by some strange scientist and found out, haha, you're a mute now. Whoa. I don't know. Just
no, like honestly, but like that is a little silly, but it is no sillier than when they demutinized Wanda and Pietro. with the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary is like, oh, you guys were mutants. Actually, I messed with your genes to make you think you were mutants. You're not. You're just regular people. And I'm like, that was just stupid and convoluted because you wanted to do what the movies were doing. And that's they didn't kill those characters though, right? They didn't kill those characters. It's so boneheaded. And the thing that pisses me off so much is this is not even going to matter in 6 months because she will be back as a mutant in a new #1. So like all of this was just for a publicity thing. And I'm like, it's so gross. It's really gross. Yeah, it's a bummer because this character deserves so much better.
One, as you pointed out, this is her 10th year,
her 10th anniversary year.
Yeah. And that they're killing her off in this super shallow way to, for all we know right now, yes, make her immune, but not only that, but maybe reinvent the character entirely and lose her original powers to now have the movie powers, which is what everyone fears.
Yep. And she's gonna hang out with the X-Men now instead of like her whole crew that she spent a decade hanging out with. Like, who knows, man? It's just.
And none of the characters who she's the closest with are featured in the one shot that's about mourning her.
Oh my god, yeah. It's again that a spoiler alert for issue 26 of the comic, but like we see the page and it's so funny because people love shitting on MJ's new husband, Paul. The biggest Spider-Man villain of all time, Paul. It's a guy that MJ's with, Ben, and she has kids, and they have kids, and like people hate the comic because you know she's not with Peter, and it's understandable, whatever. But like Paul is there, and he's crying with MJ, and it's like, Paul, you don't know Kamala. What are we doing here? What is happening here?
Get out of there, Paul.
None of the other champions.
None of the champions, like the Fantastic Four are there. They barely know her. Like it's
someone put it very well. Of like, could you imagine if Nightwing died and none of the Titans were in the issue about mourning him?
Yeah. Yeah, Bane shows up, and Bane's there for some reason.
It's so hollow and devoid of care and passion for the character. It's so dishonorable to the fans who are fans of this character. It's awful. It's gross. I really, really hate it, and I frankly can't believe that this would happen under the watchful eye of Akira Yoshida.
Oh yeah, C.B. Cebulski. Ben, you know about that, right? C.B. Cebulski, he pretended to be an Asian man to write for Marvel.
Oh, I think I remember you guys telling me about this.
Yeah, because he wasn't allowed to be a writer because he worked there, and it was a competing clause. So he had to be fake being an Asian man and he edited his own work as C.B. Cebulski for Akira Yoshida. Man, yeah, it's Marvel.
And
what a world.
And I say all that sarcastically to say, of course, C.B. Cebulski let this happen.
Yeah, it's a bummer, and it's something that we talk about this for also. I'll end it soon, but like. The Axel Alonso era, about a decade ago, when all of the like quote unquote big diversity pushes, when Miles came out and Kamala, like people are starting to look back on that a little more fondly. Like the Marvel Now era, there's a lot of bad stuff, but there's also a lot of really good stuff. And that was the biggest push of like diversity was like 10 years ago.
For sure.
And like people now are realizing, oh, this new regime is not as interested in diversity. Like all the big characters are dying or they're getting put in the miniseries. And it's just a bummer that it seems like we're kind of going backwards instead of going forward. And Marvel is supposed to be the place that like we're always going forward. It's just a bummer.
For sure.
Yeah. But again, in 6 months, we'll be reading a new #1 where she has new powers and she's a mutant hanging out with Charles Xavier for some stupid reason.
All right, friends. Let's move on to some Disney news.
Oh, we have good news?
We have some. Some of it will depend on where you land, I guess. For Moana casting, the live action film Moana. Ali Carvalho, who voiced Moana in the original film, has confirmed that she would not be reprising her role for the recently announced live-action film. She said, quote, "I believe it is absolutely vital the cast accurately represents the characters and stories we want to tell. She will serve as an executive producer and help find the new Moana." Now, I definitely want to talk about this because this is 1000% a shot across Disney's bow about the casting on the Lilo and Stitch film.
100%. That's what it sounds like.
And she is also coming out in front and saying, like, while she is of, you know, the heritage of Pacific Islander and everything for Moana, she does not look like Moana. Moana has darker skin, much darker skin than she does. And Moana is 14. And she is 22. Yeah. And she's like, it should be a teenager. And it should be a teenager who looks like Moana.
Big ups.
Honestly, super happy she's doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that she's not in the movie as Moana when this is the circumstances she's saying it's around. Like she's like, it's far more important that it be accurate.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is funny that
yeah, I was gonna say that you are putting that up next to The Rock, who looks nothing like Maui.
Yeah.
Playing Maui. sure, okay, that doesn't look so good either.
Yeah.
But at least she is taking, this is the right step in her position.
No, it's
and
a
I
great
think that's
statement.
awesome.
Yeah, she seems cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have nothing. Everything that she's doing is yes, go ahead and do it. I still think Disney should not be making this movie yet. Not even
Sure,
close.
that's definitely
that's
true.
still-
But like, she's not going to stop it. So I think it's great that rather than like taking the paycheck she could for starring in it,
Yep.
she's
Mhm.
saying, no, I'd really rather that it was a person who should be Moana for a live action film, and she's
Yeah.
going to get that person into that position.
That's good.
And I think
I'm
that's
glad-
really cool.
Yeah,
Because
I'm glad
not a
she's
lot of people
doing
will step
this.
aside and stand up for it like that.
Yeah, I'm glad she's doing this. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she deserves all the praise, but I'm still hung up on the fact that Disney's making this movie so close after the animated film.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay, moving on. During an Alien Day episode of the Perfect Organism podcast last month, Joshua Izzo, the former licensing director at 20th Century Fox prior to Disney's acquisition of the company and founder of Alien Day, shared details about an anime of AVP, Alien vs. Predator, that exists and why it didn't hit the airwaves yet. And his quote is, there is, sitting at Disney right now, at 20th Studios, 10 episodes of a fully completed Alien vs. Predator anime series that I produced. It's done. It's in the can. It's mixed. It's finished. It was produced and story cracked by Eric Calderon and Dave Baker, two unbelievably crazy, talented guys. So there's a 10-episode AVP anime just sitting in the can, guys.
Just put it on your server. Just put it on your server. Put it on.
Just split it up. Split it up. Ugh.
Remember Prey? Remember that movie Prey you put out on the
Yeah.
Hulu, which you put in theaters and everyone loved it? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are you
put it
doing?
on Hulu. Just put it on Hulu. You're done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Disney Hulu is going to be one thing soon, so
Ugh.
this. I feel like this. We're never going to see this.
Probably not.
It will get leaked one day, maybe, but like we will never see this, and that sucks.
Grayson in the chat saying Tamso's done. WTF? Gimme.
Yeah, right.
And how many other projects like this are we not going to see?
That's a big
Yeah.
old bummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wish I didn't hear this news.
Well,
'Cause that's
at
so
least-
exciting.
At least, not to give Disney 20th Century whomever too much credit, but at least it's done and they're not scrapping it forever for tax reasons. There's a chance that we can still see this, that they'll finally get their head out of their ass and put it up somewhere. At least it's not gone forever like a certain movie involving a certain girl who dresses up like a bat and starring a really cool actor who's also going to be a really cool villain.
Yeah. That's Batgirl. We're talking about Batgirl. I wish I had more faith, but I don't. But
Yeah.
I just like they're not. There's no reason for them. Like, hey, we're just gonna give you guys a free show. Like, I don't see them doing that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I would love to be wrong, but
We'll
I
see.
don't see.
Yeah.
In Avengers Kang Dynasty news, rumors, and just rumors, are saying that Jeff Loveness was taken off of writing for the project before the strike happened.
Do you? Obviously, just speculation.
Jeff Loveness was the screenwriter for this movie, also the screenwriter for Quantum Mania. Just catch everybody up.
Do you think this might sound more negative than it is? Do you think this might be a situation where they're lessening the Kang of the Kang Dynasty and getting a different writer to maybe alleviate less Jonathan Majors in it in some capacity? Do you think? Because Jeff Loveness is the Kang guy.
Sure. I think the Jonathan Majors stuff is still up in the wind. I do think that this might be just more driven from bad responses to Quantum Mania.
You think so?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel that too. I think that
Yeah.
Quantum Mania hasn't gotten what the studio wants, so they're probably like, let's not.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And like, as far as we know, he was already working on a script, so like they might have a version of a script that was his that
Yeah.
now someone else is gonna
Yeah. That's also kind of
come
what
in and mess with.
Yeah,
but I
like,
do think it's more a reaction to Quantum Mania than I think it is the Jonathan Majors thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Not even so much Jonathan Majors, but like because he is Kang, like maybe not even saying Doctor Doom, but like try to take the focus away from just Kang.
Could be.
In a way.
could be.
Whoever some other writer could be. Yeah. Man, it's gonna be interesting. They got a whole movie named The Kang Dynasty, and their actor might not be in it.
Yeah. I don't know what
That's
Mhm.
what we're gonna do.
crazy.
Wild.
That's
They're in
that
a
movie
wild.
guys. That movie comes out in like what, a year, 2 years? What?
Now with the strikes, it's definitely pushed back.
I just can't believe
It was
like,
pushed back already.
No,
It's
I
definitely
know.
pushed back more.
It's just like there's no way. Like I knew those Avengers movies were never gonna happen that quick. I knew
Yeah.
it. No way.
You and me both. We were like, no way.
2 years, crazy.
Okay. Daredevil Born Again casting. Clark Johnson from the shows Evil and Bosch is set to recur and direct. So recurs throughout the season, direct 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again.
Okay.
It's not clear who he's playing, but there are rumors going around that he's playing Cherry, who runs for mayor in Daredevil comics.
Sure.
Which would make a lot of sense if we're doing the Mayor Fisk stuff.
100%. Interesting that he's an actor director. That's pretty cool.
He's going to direct 2 episodes and be recurring.
That makes me think, shit, maybe he's involved with a lot of Kingpin stuff. So like he's working on like specific Kingpin episodes, maybe.
Could be.
That's cool.
Probably.
That's awesome. I love it. Bosch. I've never watched Bosch, but people seem to really like that show. So like, that's cool.
In perhaps the best news of the week, some other casting. Deadpool 3 actresses Brianna Hildebrand and Shioli Kutsuna have closed deals to return for Deadpool 3 as Negasonic Teenage Warhead and her girlfriend Yukio, respectively.
Hi, Yukio.
Deadpool 3 is now definitely a perfect film.
I wasn't super worried they wouldn't get everyone, but like it wouldn't be right without those two. At least without Negasonic.
They were the ones who had felt like,
why not?
You could just not.
Yeah.
Because like you're trying to leave some of the old X-Men stuff behind, move into your MCU stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that that's not the case, that we are getting them back.
I'm so excited.
Me
I'm
too.
so jonesing.
I am. I'm just happy they're back. I'm just happy they're here.
It's what mattered to me. I'm pleased as punch.
Mm-hmm.
Loki and Echo had their premieres announced. Loki season 2 will drop its first episode on October 6th. Echo will release its entire season on November 29th.
And when you initially hear that, what does that tell you? What does that put in your mind? That they're dropping Echo all at once, as opposed to every other show they've ever put out. What does that tell you in your mind?
Honestly, it doesn't really tell me much. It just has me just go, why? Because every other Marvel show you've been putting weekly, and now you're deciding to put it up all at once after a show that you decided to put out weekly. Why change it now? That doesn't make any sense to me.
My thinking and my I hope I'm wrong is that they kind of just want to get it out of the way, and they don't want people to be thinking about it week to week because it might not be as good as they want it to be. And because of the quality control and like the amount of projects that keep coming out, I think they just want to get rid of this one. And I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong because I want the show to be so good because I love Echo as a character and I want that character to succeed. But if this show isn't good, I don't know.
I do feel like there's a possibility that they're testing to see if this is a method that they want to use to get some of the Marvel shows out in the immediate future, because they took on too many at once.
Yeah.
And now that they're trying to slow down, there were 3 other shows that were supposed to come out this year. Thank God they're not. That would have been a lot. I think one more could have if they'd spaced out properly, but like that's a lot of shows that they still have to get through.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's Echo and not Loki, because like Loki's the one to me, if you were going to do this, right, Echo would be the one you do weekly to build an audience. Loki season 2, you could drop all at once because you have the audience.
That's
Loki
a sure
season
thing.
2 is one of the ones that people are the most amped for. It's a season 2. You have the audience on lock. Dump it all at once, you're fine.
People love Loki.
But yeah. Echo needs time to build an audience, because like I like her in Hawkeye, but like it wasn't enough necessarily to convince me that I needed a whole season centered around her. I need to be sold on it. And I'm being as positive as I can be when I say that. Like I really like the actor. I like the idea of the character. Yeah. I'm not immediately desiring a show about her based off Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Even I felt it was quick. Like we just get introduced to her and all of a sudden she's getting her own show. And I'm like, that's quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but at the same time, I also feel the same way. Yes, she was a good antagonist for Hawkeye. I love her in Hawkeye. But then when we saw the bigger picture in her relationship with Fisk, I'm like, that's what I want to focus on. I'm pretty sure this will focus on her relationship with Wilson Fisk and possibly lead into Daredevil.
We do know that both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. But I just want Daredevil more.
Right. But like it feels like they're setting it up to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to give it enough time to find an audience. The marketing has to be rock solid to get people to watch a whole season around the holidays when they drop it.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Especially since when is this coming out again?
November 29th.
Oh my God, that's Dune
practically
season.
December.
That's Dune season, baby.
That is
It's
good
tough.
luck.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
tough. It's not a good look. I don't feel like it shows any confidence, and it sucks that it's being done to a character of diversity and representation in multitudes of ways.
Because if everything I'm hearing about the show is like it is going to dive more into her her background with her tribe and stuff, and like that's what I hate when like when they try to do something different, but then the show just unfortunately isn't that good. It's like you try to do something and it didn't work, so like this character is just not going to be around anymore. I'm like, God damn it, I hate it. Echo's so cool. She's a phoenix in the comics right now. I hate that, but she's cool. Why does a human being have the phoenix power? Jason Aaron, get out of here.
All right. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out later this year.
Yeah.
In other Disney news, the Florida campus has been canceled. We'll back up a bit. This is Disney pulled the plug on an office complex that was scheduled for construction in Orlando at a cost of roughly $1 billion. It would have brought more than 2,000 Disney jobs to the region. Now, this follows remarks from Iger on how anti-business Ron DeSantis has made Florida for Disney, which is very true.
Yeah.
The project, which was known as the Lake Nona Town Center, was supposed to cost $864 million, but recent price estimates said it was closer to $1.3 billion. Disney had planned to relocate as many as 2,000 employees from Southern California, including most of the department known as Imagineering. Now, this was really important because we talked about this when this was getting discussed because it was happening in the company. And there were people who were queer who were going to be forced to relocate to Florida and said, hell no, This is awful. It actually led to a walkout on the corporate level at Disney for a day, a one-day walkout in protest of this and in support of the LGBTQ community, which caused Bob Chapek to have to deliver a whole response and all kinds of stuff that was happening at the time. So regardless of the Ron DeSantis of this, I'm really glad this decision happened. I'm really glad that Iger is not making 2,000 employees relocate. They have said that some of them already had, and they are going to talk to them about bringing them back and all this kind of stuff. So,
yeah, because Florida right now is a cesspool.
Man, not to get political, but that Ron DeSantis guy, I think he might just be a devil, a demon, in disguise. That guy. Have you seen his fake laugh? Oh my God, he's not a human being.
He's out there preaching genocide.
Yeah. He's a bad man. Sorry, Floridians. Get out if you can.
Really, really glad that they are not moving forward with this and those people are not forced to move.
Yeah. God, that would suck so bad. I don't want to live in Florida. Sorry, Floridians.
In more Walt Disney World news, the Galactic Star Cruiser is closing. It's closing at the end of September. The ultra immersive and ultra pricey bow to the Star Wars universe opened to much fanfare in spring 2022. This thing was barely open for a year, just a little over.
Wow.
Labeled simply as a business decision and no word on what will be done with the building after its closure. Their quote, "This premium boutique experience gave us the opportunity to try new things on a smaller scale of 100 rooms, and as we prepare for its final voyage, we will take what we've learned to create future experiences that can reach more of our guests and fans."
So
we learned from failure.
I've talked to my fiance about this because when we first heard about the Galactic Star Cruiser, or even the fact that they were building a Star Wars themed hotel, we all assumed that, okay, cool, it's going to be right on the edge, it's going to be by Galaxy's Edge, it's going to possibly do what DCA does, the Grand Californian, where you have access into the park, you have access to go straight into Galaxy's Edge, like a few interactive things here there, but at the same time, it's another Disney World hotel where you could go to other Disney World parks. And then when it came out what it was, I'm like, I mean, that's cool for the most niche of kids. Like, I'm talking like theater kids, D&D players, role players, not your average Star Wars fan. And also the fact that it was like $4,000 to $5,000, $6,000, give or take. How many?
It's for 5,000 for a weekend. Yeah,
for 2 days.
Yeah, and it's funny because people online were like, why didn't they just cut the price to get more people to come in? And somebody was like, they actually have reduced price by 30% like 6 months ago and it didn't work. And I'm like, well, there you go. They tried and it didn't work.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It went from like $8,000 to $6,000, $2,000 off. Still outrageous.
it's simply too much money. Admittedly for a cool experience. Like it is, they did put effort. Like it is cool to see all that shit. And like, you know, I remember the advertisement being like, "Oh, let's go kidnap Chewbacca. Let's go do something with Chewbacca, the Stormtrooper." That seemed weird.
One more thing, because I have heard people talk about it in discourse, and one theory was to get more people into it. Kind of makes sense to me, and it's if they. I mean, obviously the idea of the Galactic Star Cruiser, it's out there, it's big, but if you want the people who have the money, like obviously like the Gen Xers or the older crowd, essentially the people who have the money to burn, the super diehard Star Wars fans, have like the storyline set in the Galactic Civil War with stormtroopers, with Darth Vader, have like maybe Leia and Han Solo do a mission or something. Because I read somewhere that a lot of the people who have the money don't want to do this because they don't like characters like Rey and Kylo Ren. They miss their older characters. Part of me feels that if Disney did that and they set it during the Galactic Civil War instead of the new war between the First Order and the Resistance, maybe those people would have spent the money. I don't know if it would have saved the Galactic Star Cruiser. But
wouldn't have saved it, but I'm sure like it would have helped a little bit, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe give another year of operation. Who knows?
I don't know. 5,000 for 2 days is simply too much from a regular person.
I'm sorry. If I'm spending $5,000 on a hotel, I better be there for a week. And also at the same time,
go to Europe for that much money.
That's the thing. It's like you can just go on so many other kinds of vacations. You could have a better Disney World vacation.
Yeah,
doing everything else but that. For that money. It's just an unreasonable price. And like I understand some of that's operations, but at the same time, like some of the visuals that came out of there, like, you know, people have made jokes about the sleeping arrangements.
The Andor,
like the pods are less comfortable than the pods look in Andor.
In
and I'm
prison.
like, man, that's rough.
Narkina 5 prison, baby.
Not only that, being stuck in a hotel for 2 days with no natural light, with no sun, not even knowing what time of day it is. I don't know how I would feel about that. I don't know if I'm just like too used. I don't know if I'm just like too used to like being in a hotel room with a giant window and waking up every day and being able to see outside.
Well, to be fair, then you are on a spaceship in space.
True.
So like, how much are you really going to see? I'll give them that one. I'll give them that one.
And you do a sectional visit to Batu. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That is part of your stay, is you take a shuttle from the ship to Batu.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's neat.
Not worth $5,000.
Nope, not worth $5,000. Oh, I get to go to one tiny section of the park of this bigger amusement park that I want to go to. All right. Not to go you wrong.
You couldn't go anywhere else. You could not leave Batu.
Yeah, that's even because if I'm like there, it's like I want to go on rocket roller coaster. It's like, nope, can't go. It's like, well, this is bullshit.
Catch me, trooper.
I wish that like lowering the price would have been enough, but I don't think they ever would have lowered it enough to also account for the cost. That was something that more people would have done. Certainly not like right away. It's the kind of vacation you have to plan for, and like even then, like as cool as it sounds as an experience, it's like I'm not made of that kind of money, and I never would have been, to be honest. Like to the point where I'm like, yes, this makes more sense than like a week anywhere else in the world.
I could literally go to Europe, to Australia for that much money.
I feel like the only way that us would have been able to go to Galactic Star Cruiser is if we won like a radio contest or something.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like just like win some contest or win some sweepstakes and you get an all expenses paid trip to on the Galactic Star Cruiser. That would have been fine because it would have been added. You wouldn't have to pay for anything. Maybe some taxes here and there. Yeah. But
this is like what Jurassic World must have been when it first opened for like the first 8 years. In universe. It was so like it must have been like hell no, and then they got to the point where they're like, okay, we gotta like lower it down a little bit. We're not getting the numbers.
Yeah. How much, real quick, how much would you guys pay to go to a dinosaur park?
I would pay Galactic Star Cruiser money.
Yeah,
if it's the only chance you can see dinosaurs. Yeah. That makes sense.
No, I'm asking. Like, I would save up for like my lifetime.
Yeah,
100%.
That's a trip you save up for.
Hopefully, it's not the day that Jurassic World happens.
Right. That's so like, but like I can see where the price thing is the same. Was my point, but like there are such fundamentally different experiences. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think like Like, yeah, if you told me a like 1-day trip to Jurassic Park is like $14.99, I'd be like, that's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
$1,500 to see dinosaurs? Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
I'd spend $5,000 on a dinosaur vacation.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Disney Plus and Hulu are removing titles from their services. We talked about this last week, and I was optimistic. I was wrong. This story has been developing over the week, with the list growing and some titles
shrinking,
being removed from the list due to, we suspect, though it's not confirmed, public backlash.
Yes.
The titles that are on the list will go away May 26th with absolutely no guarantee of ever being seen again at this moment. The list has about 50 titles on it now, and it includes The World According to Jeff Goldblum, Mighty Ducks Game Changers, The Mysterious Benedict Society, Stargirl and Hollywood Stargirl, The Cheaper by the Dozen remake, The Princess, Timmy Failure, Most Wanted Sharks, Why the Last Man, and Willow.
Willow, which came out like 6 months ago.
Yes.
And they advertised the shit out of, is now going to never be able to be potentially seen again.
And a very, very queer, positive story being gotten rid of right before June, which is also came up real quick. I'll do this, and then we'll just have a discussion about it. Notable titles that have been saved from removal, but were initially put on the list at some point this week, are Howard, a documentary about famous Little Mermaid lyricist Howard Ashman, who was a gay man.
Yep.
And that got a huge amount of backlash with the Little Mermaid movie about to come out and Pride Month right around the corner. They were like, how can you possibly remove this? A Spark Story, Marvel Empower, which is the recent women-focused series, and Marvel Voices Rising, the music of Wakanda Forever, which frankly shocked me it was even on the list to begin with.
I know it's not all of them, but it's you're reading like a lot of like the diverse names and diverse crew. I'm just like, did they not even see that they're doing this? Like, it's like, oh, I can't. It's so dumb.
Yeah. So this is super shitty. People are still fighting and championing very hard. Specifically Willow. That's what I see the most, is people are fighting to save Willow right now. I
learned today that there's people online who really like the princess.
Yes, I did too.
Scott Thomas from the Infinity Podcast.
Yeah.
I think that movie's a great action movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
But there is a great blog post from the screenwriter, and he's like, hey, I wrote a movie that doesn't exist anymore. Let me talk about it.
Right.
And it was heartbreaking. He's like, I spent 10 years trying to get into the industry. I wrote the princess script like 7 years ago. It took 7 years to get made. And, I'm really happy with the movie. Again, like, I don't think it's great, but it's a great action movie. But the dude wrote that script, and now a year later, it's not going to exist anymore. And like, being an artist, like, I can't even imagine, like, it's not like, oh, like my movie, people didn't like it and it's going away. Like, no, it's being removed to be seen.
Yeah.
That's devastating.
Brandon's not here. I'll tell you that he's very, very upset that I'm not selling it hard enough. Brandon would be having a meltdown here talking about how upset he is that Willow's being taken off the service. And he's not wrong. This is shitty. This is shitty, especially given the timing. Not just like some of these diversity things right around the corner of Pride Month, things that represent queer characters and people, but also the strike is happening. The strike is about residuals, and the strike is about AI content. And the only reason for removing this content is residual pay. It's the only reason people have talked about, which already isn't what they're asking for. It's already low residual pay, and they are removing it to not pay the residuals. That's the only reason to do it. That's the only advantage that anyone can see in doing this.
Yep.
So it's so shitty to do this while the strike is happening. It doesn't look good. Like, I don't know. You're not winning anybody over to your side. The average consumer is sitting there, if they are paying any kind of attention to this and looking at it and going, they're right to fight you. This should not happen.
Yeah.
And Zaslav did set this dynamite keg on fire.
He kicked the domino over.
Here we are. I'm shocked that Iger is letting this happen. I'm shocked that this is the move Disney is playing at this current time in the strike. It's not going to win them any patronage or kindness.
No.
And the other thing is, like, none of the decisions they make are going to increase profits or subscribers or anything like that. It's only going to lose further trust with the consumer. Someone pointed out really well that, like, this coming back around with now the Disney Plus stuff, but like the stuff that was happening with Warner and everything, has proven that, like, streaming services shouldn't be treated as networks anymore, but libraries.
Yeah,
And the fact that like they continue to operate like they think they should be networks is one of the things hurting the streamers. The power of being a library is so useful because if the consumer has the trust that like everything I'd ever want from you is right here, they're more likely to keep it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're losing that faith quick. And piracy is highly encouraged here on the Fake Nerd Podcast.
Absolutely.
Go sail those high seas.
Man, yeah, it's and again, like Disney wouldn't have been the first company to do it, but now that other companies are doing it, they're like, oh, we can do that too.
Willow is so flagrant. Like a lot of these are not all, but a good chunk of these are a little older.
Yeah,
but like Willow is like
brand new.
Wow, you really like to take. Lucasfilm doesn't do a lot.
No,
like to take one of Lucasfilm's things they made for Disney Plus and say no, not showing it anymore. Gone. Wild. Really, just honestly, an insane move. I'm shocked.
Is that original movie still gonna be on the service?
That's a great question, Ben.
I'm
At this time, it seems so.
Because unfortunately, like I bet more people watch that original movie than this new TV show. Because that's a classic 80s movie that people love, right? Like,
yeah.
This is like, there is no like positive good look around this. It's like, this is going to continue to happen and we can only voice our frustration and anger with it as much as Hollywood people are too. Again, like Bryan Cranston, if you follow him on Instagram.
Oh man, that was so sad.
I didn't watch the movie he was in, but he's in like in a monkey movie.
The One and Only Ivan.
The One and Only Ivan. It's about like a true story. And he's like, hey guys, I made this really sweet family movie about this monkey. And like
it's based off a true story.
It's based off a true story. And like I love it. And like it's going away and I'm really proud of it. And like just sit down with your family and watch it before it leaves. Because I really love it. And it's like I'm seeing so many artists like sad that this is happening. And I'm like, it's happening everywhere.
Part of the problem I think is that like while they played cheeky with the term as we talked about last week about the Disney Vault style.
Oh yeah.
They haven't said that's what they're doing. So there's no word on like these things coming back around.
This ain't
it
a
just
vault.
sounds like they're disappearing
this
forever.
This is a pit. This isn't a vault.
As far as it seems right now, they're disappearing forever unless essentially they can win the strike, I suspect, and not have to pay the residuals that they should.
And again, because like a lot of these Netflix or Hulu thing, like originals, like they don't have a physical media. So like the princess, like if you like it or not, but like the princess will just not exist anymore,
right?
Unless you're a pirate. And it's just like that's such a shitty thing to live in, man. Like again, like as somebody who like we're all creative people here, and just like the idea that somebody can just take away the thing you made and there's nothing you can do about it. It breaks my heart, dude.
Every single one of these projects was somebody involves first.
Yeah.
And it's going away. It's really, really awful. It's just really awful that this is the situation we're in. I would like to believe that that this will get reversed eventually. That this is part of what the strikes are for. And that content will hopefully have to be reinstated because they're striking for it and will retroactively put these things back into operation.
Yeah, you can only hope.
I hope so. I hope that's the way it goes because this is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, the biggest thing I want to say is get fucked to David Zaslav.
Pretty that if you didn't watch the video of him getting booed at Boston U, go watch it.
I will. I kind of wish I was a Boston University student just so I could be a part of that. I don't care if I would get removed by campus security, but
nobody did. It was too many people.
The second we heard that he was going to take stuff off HBO Max, this was the linchpin. Netflix has never done this before because it's like, hey, we make our own shows. Quality is like up in the air concerning her. But they said when they started making original content, this will never go away. This is ours. It will be on the service. It's not going to go away. It's going to be there whether you love it or hate it. It's just going to be there. You cannot watch it, whatever. And then with the Max, that I will say this until the day I die, probably. The whole purpose of having your streaming service and your own original content is so that original content doesn't go anywhere. And if you're someone like Disney who puts all their proprietary stuff on the services that they own, Hulu, ESPN included, that should have a home. Well, while it might not get physical releases anymore, it has a home on Disney Plus. It should always be that. It's not like Netflix where they have licenses, where they have stuff where stuff goes in and out or whatever. It has a home there. And with Disney being the biggest name in entertainment, the fact that they're saying, hey, some of these originals that a lot of people love, because I really enjoyed Willow. I thought Willow was awesome. I had a fantastic time with that show. I want a season 2. The story's not over yet. And the fact that they're just going to brush it under the rug and then possibly keep the original 1980 something movie there is an absolute fucking disgrace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't care how they'd be like, how much, honestly, someone, please, I am asking the ether out there, someone come to me and tell me how much storage that show takes up on a server. How much money does it truly cost to to have that much space on a server?
That's not the problem. We know that's not the problem. The problem is paying residuals for the artists who did the work, and that they don't want to do it if they don't feel like they have to.
They will say, I don't know if Disney said it, but like I know like keeping these things, like it costs money to keep them on thing. If there's something that's not watched a lot, then they'll get rid of it. But again, it's the library.
They're not
thing.
saying
like,
that.
That's not.
They're not saying that because I think they know that they get called on it.
Yeah.
So like they're not saying that right now. Everyone knows it's the residuals. Yeah. Everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows.
It's
cool. I am not like you guys. I'm not anti-physical, but it's like I live in the 21st century. I don't need to buy physical media. Up until now, Netflix, Disney, like they were the place. Oh, you make a Disney thing, it's on Disney. It's going to be there forever. I've never had to worry about that because I didn't think we would live in a world where this is possible, where they will just take art away from you for no good reason. Well, if for a bad reason, they don't want to pay the people. But like I am now in a place where like I can never watch Willow because like it's not on physical release.
No,
right? Like I'm not going to watch it in the next week. But like that's an incredibly shitty thing. And it's I don't know. I'm sure Disney it'll fix itself, but I don't know about the other companies, man.
Yeah, and even Ryan, you were saying that with Netflix, sometimes they would release their stuff on physical. I remember seeing at Target when Stranger Things season 2 came out, they had like a worn VHS tape, and it also had special features. It had behind the scenes documentary stuff, and also part of me thought, like, well, if like your internet goes down, you can't watch Netflix, but you still have like just the internet goes down, but you still have power in the house. Pop it in a DVD. There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the fact that Disney's taking away their originals shows that this is absolute bullshit. Fuck David Zaslav, he's the guy who started this all. He's the one who pretty much said we can do this, but at the same time taking away amazing shows that people love, and now just like yo ho a pirate's life for me.
It remains one of those things where that idea of eternal growth it's not real. You can't keep growing forever. At a certain point, you just have to accept good stability and reliable, profitable stability. And as long as corporate greed stays high, it's going to take an actual pushback, which is like, that's what the strikes are for. It's going to take it all falling apart for them to go like, oh, we can't just keep expecting everlasting growth. It doesn't work that way. At a certain point, you cap out.
Yeah. I mean,
and
there's...
like, not to belabor it long, but like Mighty Ducks Game Changers and Willow, like those are like brand new big things. Like I don't like, again, this is not me like defending, like taking like smaller things off. Like I understand a little more, but like Willow is like a big thing. And like, again, I know you don't want to pay your people, but like, let people at least have a chance to watch the show you just made.
Well, I think also like the shitty part of it is that, it's not wanting to pay them what they're owed. That's true. But it's also like they're cutting it so they don't have to pay them, so they can change the numbers around so it can look like they profited this year.
Sure.
That's also why there's 7,000 layoffs happening in the Disney company. That's like all of these things are happening so that when they get to the full rung of the year and they look at it next year, they can be like, wow, look at how much money we made by getting rid of things, like not by actual profit making, because it just has to make the numbers look good.
It's almost like fake. It's like fake money.
It is.
Yeah.
Money's fake.
Well,
thing's fake.
Yeah, of course.
Our society is stupid.
It's true. It's true. Barter system. Let's bring it back.
This is awful. I do hope that these things can be salvaged in the long run by the contracts that will have to be drawn up when the strikes bring about their final negotiations, because I don't think, if anything, this has only emboldened the writers, and it might have emboldened the actors too.
Yeah.
And maybe the directors. And like when we get that point, the whole entertainment industry just stalls. So they're gonna have to move.
Patty Jenkins was hanging out with Chris Pine on the line, and she's a director. So like I think all the good people who need to be on the right side are on the right side. Luckily, will they win? Who knows how long it'll take?
The alternative, if they hold fast and they've got them, the alternative is no more entertainment, and like the studios don't want that.
Yeah, they need to make money.
Yeah, eventually contracts will have to get negotiated. It's a hard fight. It's going to be a long fight. I feel for the writers who are going through it. It's not a good time, but they're doing the right thing. Yeah. They're fighting for the future of this industry and for their livelihood and the livelihood of those who will come after them.
And again, like it is nice to see that despite everybody being involved in the movie being important, like unfortunately, like the writers are some of like the like least important in terms of like what people think of it being important. But like the writers are the foundation of a movie.
They're the core.
They're the core. Like people don't realize that like once you write a script, like the writer's just not done. Like they're still part of that movie. Like they do rewrites. They're still involved with it to make sure that the vision is still there.
It's one of the reasons why when we talk about like, we're praising a movie and we'll be like, yeah, the director did, and I'm like, well, the writer.
Yeah.
The writer here too.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So it all starts with that script. Yeah.
So in closing on that, friends, watch Willow this week. Watch the Fake Nerds Watch discussion between Brandon and Ben about Willow, and pirate it if you can't finish it this week. That's my.
They don't give you any other choice.
Seal of approval because they don't care.
Yeah.
And that's the best way for you to enjoy art, apparently.
Yo ho, yo ho.
All right, friends. It's time for the trailer talk.
Trailer park time.
Killers of the Flower Moon, the new Martin Scorsese film.
Ooh, Ben, I want to hear what you thought about this sad-looking movie.
Looks sad. That's for sure.
Now, do you mean to tell me that the white man might have been bad at one point?
Spoiler alert, white man be bad.
Hey, what's that one quote from Pocahontas I always talk about? These white men are dangerous. World history, one sentence.
Yeah. Martin Scorsese, the king of cinema himself. Y'all, I'll be honest. This trailer floored me in a way I wasn't expecting. A real quick story. Growing up as a teenager, I love movies. I grew up loving movies. I moved to California to be a film director. Film was my first love before like comics and video games stuff. It was film, right? And as a teenager, I was a weird teenager. My favorite movie when I was 14 was Kramer versus Kramer, which is a 1970s divorce drama starring Meryl Streep and Dennis Hopper. Dennis
Hoffman.
Dennis Hoffman. Thank you. Like I loved like sad dramas, and Martin Scorsese was a guy I was obsessed with in my teenage years, trying to be a big film student. And then I grew up and became a bigger nerd than a film lover, right? I'm still a film lover, but like seeing this movie and seeing that Mr. Scorsese has still been making these bangers after bangers, and I just haven't been watching them for whatever reason. Like this movie looks so good, and it's so expensive, and it's about like real shit, and it looks like he put his whole ass into it. And like I love Leo, I love the whole cast. This had because it's premiered at Cannes. This has help from indigenous tribes, like helping with it, and like one of the chiefs of a tribe was at Cannes to help talk with Martin Scorsese about it. Like this is a full movie with like full research and history and like real representation about what happens when white men find oil on Native American soil. It's not good. It's really sad. But it is a story that needs to be told, especially when it's about like, hey, I'm trying to be a good person in this scenario, like Leo DiCaprio. Like, how do I navigate this really shitty thing that I'm trying to help this lady go through? Right. It looks incredible, like incredible filmmaking. It's again not our normal wheelhouse, but like I just think it looks incredible.
It's very impressive.
I will say the best shot in the whole trailer was the last one, and you just hear Leonardo DiCaprio tell me, "Can you tell me how many wolves are in this picture?" And it's just a bunch of the businessmen, the high society types,
a bunch of white people,
a bunch of white people. I'm just like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah.
There's a movie, There Will Be Blood, which is about Daniel Plainview opening up an oil refinery in like Texas in like the early 1900s. And that movie's also really sad and crazy about what oil will do to people. And this is like, what if like we were like way more real about it? And it was like real shit that actually happened. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. This looks really good. Martin, you got me back.
I echo everything you said. I think you said it very well. So I'm not really gonna. I think it looks great.
Hell yeah.
I would love to watch it.
Absolutely. 3 hours and like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So get ready.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
It's like 216 minutes.
Movies are back.
Nimona. This is a
Ooh.
new animated film coming to Netflix. Just a small teaser here, but this is one I've been hearing a lot of buzz about in the animation sphere. So I think this looks really cool.
It was like 2D. It was a girl drawing.
It was a girl drawing for half of it, and then you see her, and then it's like this flashy in motion, like
And she's,
stylized 3D animation.
turning into things.
Yes, she's a shapeshifter.
Yeah. It looks. I need to see more, but it is intriguing.
The second half, I think the animation, like when she's shapeshifting to the armadillo from the whale, coming down the hill and then back into herself, looks really smooth.
Yeah,
I really like it.
I do too. Yeah,
honestly,
cool.
the trailer had me when it went from the drawing, it's like her drawing stuff, to her with her eyes go just bright red and her dragon wings flap up. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
There's
They got me.
There's something in a similar energy to Arcane in this animation.
Oh, sure.
And that's drawing me to it. It's not exactly the same, but there's some vibe here that's hitting the same kind of marks.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see where that goes. It's just a teaser. We'll get more soon. Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh my god. Y'all, I lost my mind with this trailer. Unfortunately, here at the Fake Nerd Podcast, we're not all caught up on the Mortal Kombat franchise. So you didn't get to experience, you didn't get to see how it happened, but you get to see that Liu Kang is now the Raiden of the universe. He is Fire God Liu Kang. He has, through the ends of Mortal Kombat, the last game, rewritten history to go back to the dawn of time, to start everything over again, a fresh, clean slate.
Only makes me want to do it more.
Oh my god. The thing about this trailer that's so cool is, besides every Mortal Kombat trailer, the first cinematic trailer is always great and always gives you insight into what the game is without actually having gameplay. The thing that's so exciting about this one is they've made so much emphasis on choice and things being different than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So people are hardcore speculating that there's going to be a lot more choice and almost RPG elements in this story mode. Whereas you see like, oh, are you going to be brother or are you going to be foe? Maybe this is a choice-driven game where instead of Sub-Zero and Scorpion being allies, they can be enemies, or vice versa, where there's dividing timelines to like different things. This is all about crazy time stuff happening. Because we see Katana and we see Melina and we see Shang Tsung. Spoiler alert, a lot of those characters are dead. They shouldn't be around. So why did Liu Kang bring everyone back when he could have started fresh? Like, he didn't have to bring back the worst supervillain of all time in Shang Tsung who kills people and steals their souls. He didn't need to bring him back, but he did. So the thing of like, potentially like, I'm giving you a choice to be a different person, and then they're still going about them being evil is so exciting to me. And also, this is one of the most like violent things I've seen in my entire life. that final Liu Kang dragon attack where he pushes his skull down into the ground and like, it's insane. It looks so crazy.
He's gonna squish his skull.
He's gonna squish his soul. I love the sound that's squishing it. Yeah, I just I'm so thrilled. This looks so good. I cannot wait for our first like gameplay, because like it's gonna look insane. Pure next gen Mortal Kombat. It's gonna look fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ben, any further thoughts?
Not really. I'm just like, I at first I was like, why is it called Mortal Kombat 1? It should be called Mortal Kombat 12. And then after Ryan said, it's like, okay, that makes sense now.
Did you see the teaser of the clock going from 9, 10, 11 and skips 12 and goes to 1?
Yeah, I saw that.
Spoiler alert, Liu Kang rewinded.
We're going back to the beginning, baby.
Going back to the like 1,000 years ago, to the original hat guy, Kung Lao, the original great Kung Lao, that timeline. Oof. Couldn't be more excited for a video game.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. It makes me want to get us back on our Mortal Kombat bullshit very quickly.
We got it.
So we can get to this.
I'm jonesing.
Maybe this back half of the year is going to be very Mortal Kombat heavy.
Very violent.
We have the last piece of our previous playthrough for Mortal Kombat 10 to get out. And then we have all of Mortal Kombat 11, and we have 2 Mortal Kombat animated films to go through.
Oh, yeah.
All right, friends. The Creator.
This actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
This looks really cool.
If you told me that Neil Blomkamp directed this movie, I'd believe you.
Sure.
But it's not. It's Gareth Edwards who did Godzilla and Rogue One. He hasn't made a movie in a long, long time. This looks insanely expensive and original, and I can't believe it's real, if I'm being honest. I think this movie looks incredible. And the fact that it is an original story about the rise of AI, before the rise of AI was a big talking point in Hollywood, It feels like prescient. It feels like, wow, this comes out at the exact time it needs to come out. It's also big and explosive, and it looks like Star Wars, but original. Like, this looks like a dream come true. Like, all I want are giant, expensive, original sci-fi movies, but when they come out, nobody sees them and they bomb. So, like, this looks great. This looks great.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool, unique ideas on display here, and I think there's it feels like the trailer is saying there's a cool question about, morality, sentience, and all
AI
that right at the heart of it. And
AI, Last of Us.
Yeah. Also, it gives you like, hey, maybe the humans aren't always the good guys. It gives you the vibes of like, the question of who's the monster, who is the man, and it's like, oh no, we're the monsters, they're the good people, and all that stuff. It's just like, oh, let's give you the feels while also getting some great sci-fi action pieces.
It's kind of like Terminator, Skynet took over, but like instead of destroying the entire world, it just kind of like took the world over in a way. Humans have to fight back their resistance. It's like I'm very into it. Very into it.
Mm-hmm.
Haunted Mansion, a brand new trailer for Haunted Mansion came out. We see a lot more of the ghouls and the house and stuff.
And Jared Leto as the guy.
Yep.
Oh, yes, he's the Hatbox Ghost.
The Hatbox Ghost.
Hatbox Ghost, yeah.
Damn it.
Besides that, like, I couldn't tell it was him until I knew he was in it. So like, he's not probably gonna bother me. I think this looks really charming. I like the ride fine, but like the cast, I love.
Yeah,
I love. It's funny because Owen Wilson, he was in a haunted movie like 20 years ago, and he's back doing it again, and I love it. I think this looks really good. I love the cast. Tiffany Haddish is great. Lakeith Stanfield. I'm all about it.
I am definitely one of those Haunted Mansion fanboys. I absolutely love the ride at Disneyland. It's one of my favorite attractions. It's every time I go to Disneyland, I have to ride the Haunted Mansion or do something around the mansion. To me, it's just one of those things where it's not a complete day to Disneyland if I don't ride Haunted.
Sure.
The film looks great. It definitely is upping like the scary bit of it, and even with it's taking the classic scenes from the ride, like the endless hallway, but it's twisting it. I think the ghosts look great. Seeing Constance in the mirror when she throws the axe is terrifying. But
I do really. Oh, sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
No, but also you get those funny moments too, like when Danny DeVito and the other main character, whose name I do not know, they're talking to the guy who plays Sloane in Sonic the Hedgehog, and and he sketches the Hatbox Ghost, and he's like, "Whoa!" And you still get that Disney humor of it, while it's still being about an insanely scary and creepy place.
I really like that shot that you mentioned where the hallway twists and they slip under.
Yeah.
I think that shot looks really good. I will say that in Disney live action fashion, I feel like the lighting's a bit flat, and I wish it were more dynamic, especially for this movie. But the spirits look cool. And I really appreciate that. And that's mainly my big knock against it is the lighting, but otherwise it seems promising. I'm hoping for something really cool. I really like when ghosts do like absurd shit, like create an entire ocean outside of the door of a bedroom. I really love that kind of thing where like they really mess with the reality you think you know. So I'm hoping there's a lot of that kind of fun to be had.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
If this can be like you ever see 13 Ghosts?
Yeah.
If it could be like a PG-13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
I like that.
A PG-13 Ghost.
PG-13? Oh, is it PG-13?
No, I'm saying if it could be a PG-13 Ghost.
Oh.
It might be. I don't know. Five Nights at Freddy's. Ben. Boy, I wonder what other games we're going to be playing this year in anticipation of this movie.
Oddly enough, I'm actually really excited for this movie.
Of course you are. Why wouldn't you be?
It's a fun time. It's Five Nights at... Oh, God. You better run, PETA. That's all I better say.
I'm so glad Josh Hutcherson is the main guy in it. There's a lot of really interesting, like outside of the Fazbear restaurant shots that have me really interested in what the story is going to play out like.
So much lore. There were Bibles of lore for Five Nights at Freddy's about like the evil Matthew Lillard killing kids, putting them in suits and stuff. Like there's a whole backstory and stuff.
I swear the game theorists dove into the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's so much I could only imagine that his videos are going to take another spike up before the movie comes out because people are going to try to figure out what the lore is, like the infamous bite of 87, who the Purple Man is, and all this other stuff. But I mean, hats off to the Henson company for those animatronics and those creepy ass red eyes. I mean, I know this is just a trailer. I understand this is just a trailer or a teaser trailer. We don't have like a full on story trailer, but scary.
I will say something. I don't care about this whatsoever, but the Five Nights at Freddy's freaks online, they're all like, they shouldn't have red eyes. Why do they have red eyes? Like, who cares? It's so they can tell that they're scary.
Right.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't think
I did see some people being like, they shouldn't have red eyes. It's not like the game. Like, y'all, now we're going a little too. Like, come on, it's okay. They're meant to look scary. They look scary. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
in a couple of shots, they look a little CGI-y.
They do.
To me.
They do.
So I'm hoping we get a better look at them in another trailer.
Yeah.
That's
coming out October 27th.
I'm optimistic for it.
Halloween, baby.
Yeah. And if Horror Nights doesn't have a maze for it this year, I'm going to be upset.
If not this year, then absolutely next year. Like, there's no way they can't capitalize.
Yeah, they probably because if my memory serves, they do mazes for big films the following year. But I really feel that this is a missed opportunity for them to have like a Freddy Fazbear or a Five Nights at Freddy's maze this year for Horror Nights to help promote the film and just to like and then like have you exit go see Five Nights at Freddy's. It'll just like that would be like that would be awesome.
It would be pretty sick to like have like the maze be the pizzeria.
And, like, and then you have like the animatronics just come up and try to chase you, or you're walking and you hear like the like Foxy just like running through and then going and back in.
I can see that maze absolutely working.
Oh hell yeah! Universal, hire me. I'll help you with that.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Oh, the movies. I love the movies. I don't like
this movie. Looks like it has parts of Part 2 in it because it looks like it's so full of so much.
There's so much action in this trailer, and it is a lot of the same stuff from the first Dead Reckoning trailer we got, but like just extended of it. And I'm like, this movie's just one big action
packed.
Scene. It's one big action scene. It's 2.5 hours of action. So much shit is happening. We're looping back around to Mission Impossible 1 stuff. Like Kid Triz is coming around, so like I'm just so excited. This feels like every Mission Impossible feels more and more like Metal Gear. I swear to God, this trailer just like reeks of Metal Gear, and I was like, Ethan Hunt is the man. What a cool. And again, this franchise, we're gonna do all of them soon, but like it's had such a fun trajectory of like, the Swiss movies come out and they were good. Then 3 really launched it up a little bit because J.J. Abrams, and then McQuarrie came in and just blew the socks off everyone for like 4 straight movies. Like, what a great franchise! I'm so excited. Oh my God.
I totally forgot to see this one.
It's okay.
It's okay then because
awesome.
You haven't seen them yet, and you're about to.
Elsa Faust is one of the coolest characters ever. Rebecca Ferguson is just she's a dream. She's a dream.
I remember Philip Seymour Hoffman being really good in 3.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna hurt her. I'm gonna hurt her real bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that it looks really good. Very full of a lot of stuff.
I don't know what the story is, and honestly, like it's not ever really the thing. It's like, oh, there's the MacGuffin, you got to save the world. That's fine, whatever.
I do like, Ethan. Sometimes this mission has to be more important than our lives.
Oh,
I can't accept that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do. We'll see.
This
mission might just be impossible.
Oh no! Part 2. Find out if it's possible.
All right, friends. It is time to move into our Fast X discussion. So
give it to you.
Let's get to our main topic.
X.
All right, friends. We are here, and it's time for our discussion of Fast X, the latest in the Fast and Furious franchise, because
I got family.
I got family. All right. We are going to be talking full discussion, full spoilers, all that jazz as we review the latest Fast X, which we all saw today. Let's get some initial thoughts. Benjamino.
I had a fun time. I will definitely say I had fun. Yeah, we were talking about this after the movie, that the earnestness went out the window after Paul Walker passed away, but the fact that the set pieces and the car action just keeps getting better and better and better with each one, because I'm here for the cars, I'm here for the racing, I'm here for the high octane batshit craziness. And I will say, out of all the characters, Jason Momoa is definitely becoming my favorite villain in the Fast franchise. He eats up so much scenery. He is so eccentric. He is like that type of absolute crazy bad. He's like that crazy bad boy that in other films you would like write off as like, oh, he's just the eccentric one. He's gonna die. He's like the second to last one to die. But the fact that he's like the main mastermind and he shows off how truly dangerous he is, I mean, he's a standout of the entire film. Just every time he was on screen, I'm like, I was kind of giddy. I was like, what's gonna happen next? How is he gonna F up Dom's life now? So yeah, I would definitely say it's a fun time. Action's great. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot else to say.
Sure.
Sure. Initially, yeah. I had a great time. 10 movies in, 11 if you count Hobbs and Shaw. I'm never expecting high art with these movies. I just want to be entertained, and I was entertained. I had a great time. I like what they did by separating the characters and putting them in little different groups so they can all focus on what they're good at and doing stuff like that. The script is fine. Again, the script is never the strong point, I don't think, of these movies, but like the action and specifically Louis Leterrier coming in, not only coming in to direct this movie after Justin Lin left in mid-production. This director had 2 days of pre-production before jumping into this movie and making this entire movie. So the fact that this movie came out as well as good as it did is a testament to how good of a director this guy is. He was able to wrangle all this shit together and make it make sense. And I think this has some of the best action, like that bomb sequence, the reverse vault is insane. Like, and that's mostly physical. Like, I watched behind the scenes of that shit. Like that, a lot of that is real, and it looks incredible. I'm sure I have complaints, but like with a movie like this, I don't really care, if I'm being honest. Did I have fun? And I did. I had fun.
Yeah. I also had a really good time. I think that the Fast franchise still pops for me with, I feel like it's what the Expendables kind of wishes it was in a lot of ways to me
100%.
at this point, which is like, you kind of get in for your good time and like the majority of characters are going to make it out of it, regardless of how, we'll talk about how this movie ends up with some of them. And you're just kind of in it for like the fun of it and the thrill of it, and seeing these stars like go head to head against each other. And like, boy, the star power in this movie is insane. And it's only been ramping up with every movie, getting people involved. And so bringing Momoa to the table and having him just deliver this absolutely killer performance as a villain.
Unhinged.
Oh yeah.
It probably would have been fine. And like about as fine, I'd say probably as F8 if it weren't Jason Momoa. But Jason Momoa knocks it that notch up so that everything feels like it has a new energy to it and it feels revitalized. And I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. And we'll get into the specifics of that and everything right now.
I think now knowing that Momoa will be our villain for the next movie too, I'm so excited because he is such like Ben, you said, like he is so good in this movie. He is such a force. Every time he is on screen, I'm happy because he's just like, it's just like Jason Momoa just showed up to set. He's like, I'm just gonna have fun. I'm just gonna giggle and goof off and call people buttholes. Like he is the most fun villain we've had in the FF franchise for sure. And like his motivation, totally love it. We all revenge for family, totally in line with the franchise. I get it. Like he's just diabolical. I think he just wants revenge.
What I also love is that when you first meet him in the movie, he's very reserved. Like you don't like what obviously like when he's there with his dad, he's on his best behavior. He's like, I'll kill him. And then his dad says, don't kill someone when suffering is owed. And he's like, okay, yeah, obviously drug lord, mob boss. He's like, and he's working with the Brazilian police. Obviously corruption's there. All this stuff happened from Fast Five,
yes.
Right? Yeah. Like the stuff 5 happened. And it's just like, this is all right. This is, and then when the next time we see him, like when you first meet Cypher, it feels like I'm meeting a completely different character for the first time, like someone who truly has flew over the cuckoo's nest and is just ready to be like, I like his whole scene when he's talking to Cypher and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to him, and saying all
Zeke, Michael. Yeah.
the henchmen by their names." And he's like, Kevin's dad.
Yeah.
The phones pop up with their family's duct tape, and it's just, oh, and even just how, like, going ahead in the movie when in the Vatican, I mean, I love the line. It's like, blow up, like, no one's saying, it was like, what shall we blow up? What, the Vatican? Well, okay, but you're going to hell.
Bob, you're crazy.
Even when he's walking down to go to the motorcycle, to his Harley, he goes, "Don't go anywhere. Remember, I still have your families." He just says it so nonchalantly. It's just like, holy shit, this guy is bad.
Got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing, is that he feels, man, I think the number one thing for me about like what makes him so great is defined by the moment when they're on the bridge and Dom is punching him and he's laughing.
Oh yeah.
And
Goblin mode.
That really tells you, like, man, he's just like, it doesn't matter. He's just here to really wreck it. And that energy really, really works in this franchise at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have someone who I believe obsessed over Dom for a decade, to the point where he's a little bit a fan of him too.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's true. Like, I believe that he's a fan of what Dom's done and Dom's family and all that. Like, he's kind of impressed. And like, every time he does something, he's kind of like, damn, he's good.
Yeah.
It's really
He
cool that he's
compliments
that good.
him multiple times.
Yeah, but he's also like, but I also just want to like totally ruin your life.
Yeah. I also like, because, you know, again, we're up to Fast 10 now. Like, I don't know. I mean, I read comic books every day, so like it doesn't matter. But like, how many end of the world scenarios I need the Fast guys to save? Like, you know, God's Eye and, you know, like satellites that'll destroy the world, all this stuff, like Hobbs and Shaw shit. Like, this guy just wants to kill you because you killed his dad, and that's
Right.
like that is the crux of the final stage of this saga. It's about family. I know it's like, it's silly, but like that's what the whole franchise is. But I like that it's not, oh my god, we got to stop him from destroying the universe. It's just like, he just wants to mess you up, and he'll do it any way he can.
Right.
He's just an unhinged bad guy, and that's
Mhm.
that's the best. That's just the most fun.
I do like, just real quick, bouncing off what Ryan's saying, like, I do like that it feels, this film takes it and says, like, you know, the world isn't in danger, but your world is in danger.
Your world,
and
yes.
like,
Yes,
and
yes.
like, even in a tangential sense, collaterally, other things will be in danger because I don't care what I destroy
Yeah.
to get to you.
Yeah.
And because you brought it up, like, one of my favorite things is I love that they brought the God's Eye back.
Yeah.
I love that it wasn't the point of like a MacGuffin in the movie, but it was important that it was there.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for the franchise to like leave things like that behind. And the fact that like they brought that back around, this thing that wasn't important, like they had to take care of this because it could have been the end of the world kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that it brings like some more Ramsey development because she created it, and it's how she got involved with all this to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is a tool that they are using to like look out for each other, and then it gets taken and now it's being used against them and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's so great to utilize what's there.
Yeah. Don't forget. Don't forget what you built up. Yeah.
Yeah, but also, as I want to chime in on how I love, when I say grounded, I don't mean grounded as obviously this film's not grounded. This film has cars and Dom essentially running into a crane to ping pong a bomb into a river.
I audibly laughed.
But it's grounded in the fact that the world is at stake. They're not being sent on a mission by Mr. Nobody. It's like, oh, if this person gets what they want, then the world is at stake, or this country is going to be destroyed. And Sparks, I think you said best when they said that the character's world is in trouble. That's what's at stake. While the stakes are high, they're not high as in like, we need to do this or else the world will be enslaved by so-and-so. It's like, yo, this guy is trying to murder me, and I got to put him in his place, or at least try to.
And it's been, you know, after Fast 5, the 6th, 7th, 8th film and 9th films have all been like them having every resource they needed more or less at their disposal
Yeah.
to take on the missions that they were doing with the support of the agency and everything. And so finally flipping that on them and putting them in these situations where they can't really communicate with each other throughout the movie really made it more interesting.
Yeah.
Because it felt like the team was so broken up,
Mhm.
and had to like trust certain things.
That's a
on
good
their
point,
own.
because they kind of like at all times can just do what they want when they want. And actually here they're like, oh no, like we're in trouble. Like we can't.
We've had 4 movies where they've kind of like they got moved out of the criminal space into the like, you are now
You're
working
superheroes.
as spies.
Yeah.
You are working as agents for this agency. Even if you're freelance, that's what you're doing, and we'll give you whatever you need to complete the mission.
Yeah.
And that had been the case for a while. So to have that completely turned on its ear on them, and like Jason Momoa makes me think anything can happen with the way that he portrays his character. Like, I thought that the Vatican might blow up in the movie. I thought that Dom might fail to save it, and that like in this universe, the Vatican might get destroyed. Now, that being said, the destruction that they showed in one of the sweeping shots, like after it was revealed, I was like, that's still really gnarly for this world. That's a lot of damage that they let happen.
Yeah.
It made
Gonna need a lot
Collateral
of-
feel more real than I think it has in a while in the franchise.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's like I said to you in the theater, oh, this is Fast and the Furious Civil War, because like there's the agency scene of here's everything y'all have done for 20 years. Here's Sokovia and here's New York and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, everything is coming back on them. Like it will eventually, like all your globetrotting is gonna come to bite you in the ass, because how much shit are you destroying? It is a lot. He ends up just being like a bad guy, like a traitor bad guy, but like that is a good point. Like, do you need to rein these
Honestly,
people in?
Well, and even then, like the point that he makes at one point, I will not. I'm paraphrasing it, so I'm not going to execute it perfectly. But Dante says like, "I'm part of your collateral. That's all I was," because we didn't know he was there, because Dom didn't know he was there.
Yeah.
In Fast 5, that vehicle is there. That vehicle with the gun coming out, and it got hit by the vault and knocked into the water.
Yeah.
We had no idea he was in it, because Dom had no idea he was
didn't
in
care.
it,
Yeah.
and it was all collateral bullshit. To Dom, and I think that's so good of like, you don't care about the things that get wrecked in the wake of what
Until
you
it
do.
happens to you specifically.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
I will say, because obviously the other Fast films, they've inserted things like, oh, that explosion where you thought a character died. No, it was not. They're not dead. Like when Han turned out to not be dead from the last film.
Yeah.
Part of me was, I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is some bullshit. But at the same time, I just roll with it because I like Han a lot.
Yep.
And then we get to this one where they put Jason Momoa's character into that car. And it's like, this actually makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And it works so well with the story they're trying to tell. And even if you were to watch Fast 5, you see that car with a gun on it. You just don't look inside the driver. It's like, yeah, the son was there the whole time.
Yeah.
And when they try to put characters and like retroactively be in part, I think this is like the best instance of them retroactively adding important characters in the previous films.
Sure,
And then those essentially, it's all those problems come up to harvest, and they have to and the family has to reap what they sow. Of course, they didn't realize it. They just did their own job, and Fast 5 ended on a happy note. But then it's like, I'll just wait 5 more films, then shit's gonna go real bad.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a lot of what the movie has working for it, is like, frankly, the franchise at this point has earned its its appearances from the stars that we're familiar with showing up, like John Cena as Jacob, like coming in and like, yeah, Dom sent me. And I'm like, this is the vibe. This is the energy. This is essentially like high action soap opera bullshit on wheels.
Yep.
But they've earned that. They've earned that with the time they've put into all of these characters, these stars. I think that there's 2 really instrumental pieces that make this movie work for me. Jason Momoa is the big one, and then the other one is John Cena. Like, I love John Cena. I'm so glad they brought him in the previous movie, because having him on the side adventure with Little B was a really wonderful like alternate path that we were getting inside of the film, because we're essentially following 4 stories. We're following Dom. We're following, I guess you could say 5. We're following Letty and
The
Cypher,
Roman crew.
the Roman crew, Dom, then Little B, and
Tessa,
Jacob, and
Tessa, Miss Nobody.
and Tess Miss Nobody.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yep, a whole lot of them. But I also want to, to add to to the scenes between Jacob and Little B, I never felt like those scenes were awkward at all. They felt very organic. Like when they're like obviously one of the best parts is like when Little B sees the Dodge, the big conspicuous truck. He goes, "Whoa!" It's like, and Jacob's all like, "What are you talking about? That's not mine. This is mine." And
Yeah.
you see like just like a regular with the kayak on the top, and the whole time sitting there going, you know what? That actually makes sense, because if you're in a high stakes neighborhood and you see a car driving away, you're looking for the super souped up car or truck, or the car that's got worked on, not some old 30, 40 something old, maybe not POS, but some old beat up car.
Right.
I
And
mean,
you thought they were like surfboards, and you didn't think it was like a rocket.
no, that was a cool scene. I'm not gonna lie, but it also kind of makes sense about how Little B, like, I thought it was a cute moment where when they're on the plane and he says he doesn't like planes. He just doesn't like them, and then Jacob has this really good like heart to heart moment, like this good bonding moment with his nephew. He's like, "Oh, actually, I didn't like cars," and he goes, "What?" And he's like, "Oh yeah."
Well, do you remember the last time he was on a plane?
Yeah, shit went bad. I do
Nathan
remember
had
that.
to strap him to his chest and take
Yeah, his mom
Oh.
got shot last time he was on a plane, which I mean, once again makes sense. Kid has a fear of planes, but with Jacob there, and he was helping him and telling him all the stuff about between him and Dom. It made it like this guy is actually. I mean, obviously Jacob's been away for a very long time. He hasn't had contact with his family since the last movie, and then they agreed that, hey, we're gonna patch stuff up, but it's gonna be a slow road. I can only assume multiple talks and multiple one-on-ones, and now he's like, oh no, I'm here for it. And even the scene where Jacob doesn't know how to react when Little B says, "I love you, Uncle Jacob," and he goes, "Oh, this affection, this is weird, but yay!" And he's like willing to do everything for his nephew. I'm like, this. I will say, John Cena does shine as a father figure to Little B in this movie, and also he's hilarious. He has some really good action scenes. I will agree with you, Sparks, that both John Cena and Jason Momoa are standouts of the movie.
John Cena is he's just a national treasure. And it's really funny because he's just like being John Cena in this movie. If you watch Fast 9, he's like the most stern, like bad boy in the world. But here he's just like, I'm just being me. And
he got lightened up.
He got lightened up. And
yeah.
It's not a criticism. It's just like, I love that. Let's he doesn't have to be that character. He can just be, I'm just gonna be goofy now.
Right.
Like I love that. And I loved the stuff with him and Little B. I thought it was so charming.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a little reprieve from all the action, and just go on a road trip with your little guy.
Yeah,
you need some good vibrations. That's what you need.
Oh my God, move it!
I genuinely I'm fine with it if he did die, which it very much seems like he did. That was the sacrifice play.
Yeah,
but I would love for John Cena to be back, because I just love him in general.
Yeah.
I love watching him, and I love that he gets to play in the sandbox, so I would love to see him
I completely forgot he was even in this movie until he showed up in the house. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're all here.
Yeah. Oh, and Grayson, good. Peacemaker is amazing. We love that show.
Oh yeah.
Grayson says, I binged Peacemaker recently, and John Cena really surprised me. He is so wholesome. You're damn right.
Do you really want to taste it? The answer is yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. John Cena, we're all big fans of John Cena on this podcast. So I'm really glad that we got him in F9 so we could get him here this way. I think this was a lot of fun to have.
I could have. I don't know if I was going to say I could use more Scott Speedman, but maybe I don't need any Scott
Eastman.
Scott Eastman. Yeah, Scott Speedman's a different guy. Scott Eastman. As like Nobody Jr.
I'm glad they brought him back at all, because we were wondering where he was.
Yeah, he's in for he was in one scene, and I guess I wish I had more, because he just shows up and then falls out of a car and then he's gone.
We all thought it was weird when he wasn't in the last one.
Yeah.
I'm
glad he showed up. I guess I just wanted more, because I feel like they threw him in just because they had to. They didn't do anything with him. But I guess you don't need to.
I feel like he's connective tissue, and again, the franchise has earned it's reprising appearances and all that kind of stuff.
Honestly, we have Brie Larson anyway, and she's better.
Right, and
she's better than him.
she's taking over, and she's coming in as Kurt Russell's biological daughter, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I liked that Scott Eastman is the bridge of he should be the contact we should have been seeing for the agency stuff, because that was what he was set up to be in F8, and so it was weird when we didn't see him in F9.
He should have got taken out by Dove.
well, we don't even know. Like, is he? We're all we hear is like he's out of commission, and I was kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He jumped out of a vehicle, but a lot of people jump out of vehicles in this franchise. Like,
That's
why is he
Dom's-
out of commission?
Dom's MO.
Yeah. I was like, why is he out of commission?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is he unconscious? Is he in a coma? Does he just break his leg? Like, what's going on?
He'll show up in the next movie.
Yeah, I hope so.
Who else we got? Who's new?
Who's in the?
Family.
We actually do have a new family member. Danielle
Elena's sister?
Melchior, the sister of Elena, Dom's first wife, mother of Little B.
Yeah, I really like Danielle Melchior coming in.
Yeah, I thought she was really good. Like, I didn't expect her to have, like, it's not a big role,
The
but like
fam-
it's a bigger role than I thought it was.
The
gonna be.
family connection was a cool reveal. I was like, oh, this works really well and makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. I
like,
like it.
yeah, go save your son and my nephew. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that was cute. And even like when we first see her, I'm like, okay, this lady, I knew this lady was important somehow. And then when it's revealed that she was Elena's sister, I'm like, okay, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
It all interweaves. But ooh, did Jason Momoa make me feel uncomfortable when he showed up?
oh, and you
Ooh.
licks her.
I know
Yeah.
that's the point. I know that is the 100% the point. But ooh,
I just love, dude. His whole like vibe
Enchanté.
in this movie is like, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
half the time his shirt's unbuttoned, he's doing a little like ooh, like little like no, he's just like so fun. Like I don't need every villain to be this fun, but I want more
Dude,
villains like
also-
Did you throw
question.
a helicopter at me back there? You brute.
yeah, like butthole and brute, like these
Yeah.
like goofy words.
question: was the actor who played Frenchie in The Boys the guy in Rio de Janeiro who was Dom's friend, or my
No,
mixed-
it wasn't him.
okay?
They just look similar. I see what you mean, but no, it wasn't him.
Poor guy.
Similar vibe for sure.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
He died thinking he was going to win and gets blown up. But
Oh,
but once again, another great thing about Jason Momoa's character, where he's driving, is like, who you guys save first? Who you guys save first? Trick question, everyone dies.
Yeah.
And I love again, like I love that we still have like I always want races in these movies, no matter how big we get. Like we need races. And I think this is a good race, and it's like, oh yeah, Dom, you can't save everyone. What do you do? And he still tries to save everyone. Like he
Yeah.
does his best. And I just think that's great. Like, and Vin Diesel. So Vin Diesel gave an interview recently, and I forget what Vin Diesel's voice actually sounds like. And you can sometimes forget that he's actually doing a performance here, because Vin Diesel has a high pitched voice, and he's doing Dom. I'm like, you're actually trying. I forget sometimes you're an actor. Sometimes you're pretty good. I'm not gonna say he's a great actor, but sometimes I'm like, damn, Vin, you can bring it.
Yeah.
You can bring it.
I still remember that he did a promotional video for Street Sharks back in the 90s. That was like
Oh,
his
yeah.
first big acting gig, was promoting Street Sharks.
I remember that. Yeah.
I will say, like, we get the pivot into heroic Dom. Like, and Dom's been a good guy, like helping, but like we get a lot of saving innocent bystanders.
Saint
and
Dominic.
the Saint Dominic play in this one, which I really like. I actually
Yeah.
really like Jason Momoa throwing that in his face and calling him Saint Dominic. I think that's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really like picking at him. But it was very in the film language of the way shots were done. I was like, we're a little bit hard on the Dominic Toretto heroism here. But okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
It's laid on a little thick, but I like the story that we're, the journey that we're doing for this franchise, where it's all ending up, what it's all about.
We haven't talked much about the Roman squad.
I wish there was a lot more to say. I like that Han is there. I'll say that because
I think this is probably the weakest part for me. Like they're
Yeah.
And again, like I love all the like them together. Like especially like Roman and Tej. Like I really like those two together. Like I love their rivalry. It's always fun. But like in this one, it wasn't bad. It just like nothing ever. Like, yeah, you guys are still joking.
Here's
you guys are
the
still
thing.
doing the thing you guys do.
Here's the thing. I said it the last time, and I probably said it about Fate too.
Yeah.
They just haven't changed.
No.
Like they're not growing.
No,
and
no.
like you could argue, I guess, that none of these characters are really changing or growing. But I would push back on that and say that like really Roman and Tej, and unfortunately Ramsey, because she's kind of wrapped into that trio, are really stuck
Well, she knows car stuff
in
now,
like yeah.
though, because she said it.
They're really stuck in kind of running the same loop of like, what do? They bicker. And that's what they do, is that they get at each other's goats, and they're always kind of in like a weird competition with each other.
Yeah.
I like that they actually gave Roman. It's like my favorite moment Roman has in the movie is that he was in this leadership role, and when they're on the jet,
Yes.
and he like cuts the shit for a moment, essentially, with Tej, and he's like, Tej,
I messed
this
up.
was on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, boy, if we got like a little bit more development on that, I would like this so much more, because like when they get into the pissing contest fight in the black market room with Pete Davidson, I just didn't give a shit.
I love Pete Davidson, but yeah, I agree that scene, they didn't. Yeah.
Well, when they start physically fighting with each other, I'm like, what is this even about, guys? Like, this is so useless.
Although Han got Magic Muffin, that was pretty good.
It was. I kind of wish it had gone.
I thought it was gonna last longer.
I was like, pick at it throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually kind of like, okay, cool, Han's on drugs now, but that doesn't really add up to anything. It's just like, okay, I'm fine now. I gotta go talk to a guy who tried to blow me up in Tokyo.
Here's what I think is going to happen, because we now know this is not just 2 movies, 3 movies, and we know where these characters end up. I actually do think that the Roman leadership role is going to be expanded into the next movie and the next one.
I mean, I hope so.
Because I think I wanted more of it, but I'm like, oh, are they just trying to like spread it out?
I hope we're seeing an arc with them, because like my biggest thing is that they're kind of doing the same shtick with them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And like I said, like adding Han into the mix is refreshing, but it's not necessarily fixing it.
Yeah.
Boy, that's another person I bet Dwayne Johnson doesn't show up on screen with his Tyrese Gibson. I bet that even more than I bet him not showing up on screen with Vin.
No big ass forehead.
I think they hate each other more than Vin and Dwayne do.
That'll be funny to see how much nonsense CGI work goes into that.
Yeah.
Man, let me think. The action in this movie is really good all throughout. I think. I don't think there's really any bad action. Again, Louis Theroux, like he really brought it. Like it's hard. It's not really hard to take over a franchise after someone like Justin Lin, but to take over a franchise after Justin Lin was working on this movie and he left mid-production. Again, that is an incredible feat for someone to come in and to make a movie as good as this is.
Yeah.
And the action is so good. It might not be like the best in the franchise, but like it stands up with some of the best. Like
I noticed there's a lot of good overhead moving shots.
The drone stuff.
There's a lot of
really good drone shots. Like Michael Bay in Ambulance earlier this year is probably the best in terms of drone shots. But like there's some really good drone, like cars are coming at you and you go right up and like you go over like a valley and I'm like, that's good work.
Like they just make a decision to, not just have like a straight drone shot following, but like the drone is like moving with the action. It's flowing into it. And like I remember one specifically where like it flows over a bridge in a curve and then comes over down behind the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that just like that looks so much more interesting than just like flying a drone over it just straight.
Letty and Cypher have a great action scene. And I love that like they're about to escape or they have like, we have 4 minutes before people get here. And Letty's like, cool, I got 4 minutes to beat your ass.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Which is I really value, because like Cypher, she is of the bad guys they've encountered, she is the one who has actually done like real harm to the team directly.
Yeah.
Everyone else you can kind of be like, it wasn't so bad. And then like you get to her and it's like, no, it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
Beat your ass.
Yeah, so I'm glad that there's like not a lot of love and a lot of distrust there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really, I did not expect the opening. I'll say that. I didn't expect her coming to the house beaten and bloodied, and then the flashback scene she gets. Boy, that's a great opening. Her scene with Jason Momoa, the two of them, like woof. That was awesome.
It really sells him on who he is and how like dangerous he is. And again, like Ben, you brought it up how like in 10 years ago he's like calm and like he's a regular dude. But once he gets his head knocked and like he has like surgery or whatever, and he says it like, yeah, I'm a little like loopy now, like must have been the accident. Like he's just gone. He's just gone as a person. And like you can't fight that. There's no fighting.
I mean, he has had psychotic tendencies before, because when Elena's sister is pulling up the files on Dante, they're like, true. Oh yeah, he's been in hospitals, he's been in psych wards, he's been all over, and every like something bad happened, his dad came and pulled him out of prison or some mental ward or whatever.
That was keeping him in check almost.
yeah, keeping him in check. And then of course once his dad's gone and now he goes. Oddly enough, one of my favorite scenes with Jason Momoa is when he's doing the nails of his two of Cypher's guys.
Good.
Yeah,
but they're both dead.
Yeah,
with the tape.
and they're horribly dead. And he's just sitting there talking to himself. He's in a robe. He has his hair in 2 buns, and he's just like talking. Like, it's when I say this, I don't say this in a derogatory way. He sounds like a teenage girl talking with her girlfriends.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
And it's just absolute. And he sells it so well that it is absolutely. It is I mean, as a character, as one performer to another, awesome to see him. As someone whose actions I do not condone on screen, it is absolutely terrifying to see this man work.
Well, he's so deranged. Like but he knows what he's doing, because when he walks away, he's like, "Oh, I gotta see you later. Someone will come to bury you later." And I'm like, he knows what he's doing.
He
It's
just
not like
says it knows nonchalantly. It's just like,
it's good.
yeah. Just once I know I said it before. I'll say it again. Jason Momoa was the standout for me in this movie. He definitely upped my enjoyment of this film. I enjoyed this film. But with him and the performance he gave, I'm actually really excited to see him again in part 2 and hopefully part 3 if they do make a part 3.
We haven't talked about him a lot, but Alan Richardson plays the new, like, I don't know what his name is. Oh, Ames. His name's Ames. Like director Ames, who you think is a good guy, and he turns out to be a double agent, which I kind of knew from the beginning. I had that vibe about him.
I didn't. I just
because I saw him in the Fast Five. Because do you see the blonde guy in the Fast Five opening? I'm like, there's Alan Richardson, but they don't show his face until the end of the movie, and I'm like, I knew it.
I did not catch. I mean, obviously, when they do the flashback and it pans on him, I'm like, oh, I should have seen this from the beginning. But I actually thought that he wasn't like, obviously Dante's the main antagonist. Ames is like the secondary antagonist. He was kind of like Hobbs in a way, where he's like the lawman. He's like, I'm gonna get these guys. They're gonna pay for their crimes. They're not gonna have the same leniency as they did before. And after the incident on the bridge, like when Ames says, I won't say sorry, but I'll do you one better, and then he helps Dom out. So when you see him on the ledge with the bazooka, that for me, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that for me, that was like, because when they get away, I was like, yeah, that was a good climb. Oh, we're not done yet. Oh, we're not done yet. Oh no, we're not. It just got worse and worse and worse. Like you see those big, like you see those.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like when I saw the oil tankers, I'm like, this fucker's gonna blow up the dam. Holy crap! He does, but he doesn't blow. Oh my god, yeah.
It's good stuff.
I didn't see the betrayal coming. To me, I mean, if I do watch this movie again, I could probably see it earlier on. But honestly, when it got me, it fooled me. I had no clue.
That's good. I love it. I love the just the way it was shot, like him with the bazooka. Like the sun's in the background. It's like it feels like a heroic shot, but he's like, yeah, you didn't expect this one, did you? I'm like, oh, what a bad guy thing. I love it. Yeah. I just like that guy a lot. He's just like, he's so beefy. There's that one scene where like he's chasing Dom, and then like a bunch of guys like confront him with, like, guys, do we really want to do this? And that dude's like about to burst out of his blue shirt.
Yeah.
He is so ripped because of Reacher. Yeah, Jack Reacher, love it. Yeah, you said it, like stacked cast, like everybody in this cast is famous. They brought everyone back and new people too. Again, I'm so glad that Momoa like didn't die. Like he will be our bad guy.
4 Academy Award winning women in this movie.
Oh yeah, Helen Mirren shows up again. To help her bro out. Her and Vin Diesel have a fun friendship. That's that's really fun.
I do too. We set up Shaw for a mission to save her.
Yeah.
Because she's on the hit list, which I was surprised. Like when we were getting to that movie, I'm like, oh shit, we have to wait for the next one to see that.
Yeah. This is a really good example of a movie that does a lot of setup, but like I don't feel like, oh, it's setting up and I didn't feel like I earned anything in this movie. Like it's setting up what the next movie is, but like I feel like I was satisfied with this movie. Like, you know, like it is a cliffhanger, but like it ends where I'm happy. You know?
I also will say that like I don't feel like this is because it's gonna come into when I give my rating later and everything, but like it doesn't feel like a complete movie the way Infinity War does.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, it does feel like you kind of need the rest of this to get the full story. Just like we said, like, you know, Roman might be set up for an arc. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we're not quite getting everything for all the characters because it's juggling a lot and it's doing it surprisingly well with good pacing, I'll admit. But like it is juggling a lot. And we're left in kind of like when you like look at the trajectory of characters, like a lot of them have most of the people besides Dom and Jacob have only moved through like their A plot and haven't gotten to like the B and C part of the story. Like
Yeah.
they're still in Act 1, while Dom and Jacob have gone through Acts 1 through 3.
It does feel like that, yeah. Because Letty and Cypher are doing their own thing in Antarctica with Gal Gadot. All of a sudden, she's got she's got the submarine from Fast 7, 8. That's great. How'd she get it? She was dead at the time. Whatever.
Yeah, Giselle is working with Cypher, I guess.
That's fine. You'll give me a stupid reason. That's okay.
And Brie Larson's test knew that Cypher would get Letty out, so neat. Just interesting alliances being made
real
here.
Quick, during that fight with Letty and Cypher, she activates like a laser grid.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's just
awesome.
Oh, also, because I know you caught it. It's like, Cypher on the side panel, handcuffed, was able to rig the laughing gas to go into the building. And I'm like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
In another movie, I would be mad, but like, whatever, man. Like, she did some finger stuff. It works, whatever.
She's supposed to be very, very smart with technology. And I'm
Sure.
like, sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she did.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, might be my favorite line in the movie is when Cypher says, I met the devil tonight, which was a real bummer because I was pretty sure that was me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a killer line.
I did think she was going to say the cliche thing of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but she didn't say friend. She said you. And I'm like, okay, cool. She's not immediately just joining their side because that's what you do.
The enemy of my enemy is you.
And I'm like, okay, cool. You can still be antagonists, but like work together. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Once the Justin Lin news hit that he was leaving and like the weird Vin stuff, I'm like, I was worried, but then we saw the trailer and it looked pretty good. I'm like, no, man, this is good. This was great. And like, we got Louis Leterrier coming back for the second one, maybe the third one too, I'm guessing. I have faith that this could hopefully, end strong. Like having most recently of us watched the worst Fast and Furious movie, Too Fast, Too Furious, a couple years ago. I actually kind of like that movie now because it's really campy and cheesy.
Sure.
So there are no bad Fast and Furious movies now because the one that I thought was bad isn't. So like, baby, we got 10 good movies. That's awesome. Like, what a great franchise. They just keep getting sillier. Again, if you've never seen the Fast and Furious franchise, you get a sweet 5-minute, here's everything that happened. They started as running DVDs, and then they worked for the CIA and the government, and now they're terrorists. I'm like, sweet. Love it. It's a fun live-action anime.
I think they do a good job of the inclusion of, like, Jordana Brewster as Mia being back, that she's in the movie just... the right amount for
and
the
she
story
gets a
that we're
kick-ass
doing.
too.
Yeah, that we get here. I think the movie does juggle its stars pretty well, especially like the special appearances. I think are done fairly well.
I agree. Yeah.
I did like when they're doing the beginning, like, dinner thing, and they're giving the speech and the toast about the family and everything. I'm like, do they do this like like every other week? Like there's a big speech, like, just in case we're all not at this table in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Here's a big speech about our legacy and family.
Every other week,
and
Globetrot
family.
Yeah, and you hear the piano from
yeah.
It's been a long day.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty. They were pretty sly about that, about how like he's having a conversation about his dad, but like they're like his dad not being around anymore, but like they're kind of putting in audience brain like Paul
Brian.
not being around.
Yeah.
Not Brian, but Paul.
Yeah.
For the audience, this is Paul. For Vin Diesel in real life, this is Paul.
Yeah.
For Dominic, this is his dad. And like they're kind of connecting those beats by playing the music there. I think that the little boy who played little B was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Charming little guy.
Yeah. I thought he was a lot of fun.
I just love how when he says "holy shit" and John Cena goes like, "Hey, no, that's only for song lyrics and stubbing your toe."
And then they get into the car and he's like, "And cannon cars,
And cannon cars."
And he just goes, "Oh shit." He's like, "No cannon cars."
It's really funny that Fast X came out the same week that Zelda did because John Cena builds 2 Zonai vehicles in this movie. He puts cannons on a car and then he puts wings on a kayak looking thing. So people are online like, yeah, it's Zelda John Cena. I'm like, that's pretty good. That cannon car, awesome. Because not only was it cannon car, he turned the cannons downward so he can launch himself up. And I'm like, that's engineering.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought they were jet thrusters. I thought this guy's driving the frickin' Batmobile, but nope, it's a cannon car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal what?
No, that's later this year.
Yeah, there's There's a lot of good classic, what's become classic, I guess.
Yeah.
Like what you expect, fast stuff just amped up in this movie.
This is I don't think this is like the best Fast and Furious movie, but this is a great example of what a good Fast and Furious movie is. You know,
Yeah.
It's got the family that you want. It's got the great action. It's got the high octane drama, the soap opera aspect. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, I would definitely say that if there was a low point, it would be the scenes with Roman and his crew. But I mean, it's when I say low point, it's not like the most horrible thing in the movie.
It's just it's fine.
It's
Like,
just,
it's
yeah,
fine.
it's fine. I mean, I will say I was looking more towards like I want to see what's going with Dom, what's going on with Jacob and Little B. I wanted to see even how is Letty gonna get out of Antarctica. I cared more about that than I did about the rest of the team. But I will admit that when Roman is like on the planet, he realizes his mistakes and says I messed up, and then Ludacris is like, no, you did this. You did all these things for us. You know what that's like you spent thousands of dollars of your own cash to get us here. You're a leader, dude. You're helping us out.
And I do hope that carries over into the next movie. Because it would be nice for those characters to grow a little bit over the course of like 20 years.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It just feels like they constantly are paired with each other, but they are borderline like always negging each other. And I'm like, just fuck, guys. Like, just get it over
Watch
with.
that be the long-term arc.
No,
that'd be
great.
I also,
no, I know.
But like, but really, all it is that just like, I want Roman to be written as a character who gets to be respected at this point. By Tej. Like, I want them to be on a level where like they actually just like work in sync for once. Would be cool,
because they've been on this like superhero team for like 10 years. Like, Roman has to be good at something, right? Like, he has to be good if you're keeping him on the team.
He's a good driver.
He is a good driver, but I'm like, he's
like, you know, one notch above the bottom of the barrel in their team, but like he's a good driver.
I mean, yeah.
Mia's probably a better driver, but like, you know, he's a good driver.
Yeah.
Although the gold Lamborghini was a good idea because the light, the shining of the light, that was pretty smart.
Sure.
Also, I did like the little tiny Tej.
That was cute.
Yeah, it was funny. I do think like having Han around definitely like livened up those scenes a bit more to be different from previous outings. At least the last two outings for sure. But I do hope we get like more of their dynamic kind of getting stronger and better in the next ones. To be honest, I still kind of wish we were revisiting the idea that they presented in the previous one where they're like, are we unkillable? And I feel like that conversation has to come up again in the next one because they're definitely not dead. Absolutely. So they have to be like, dude, we are unkillable.
We have one final thing to talk about, and it's a post-credit scene.
Oh yeah.
He's back, baby.
He's back.
Dwayne.
I kind of wish this hadn't gotten out.
I would have been really happy if I didn't find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I would have been like, "Oh, he actually is back."
And it like got out in a way where it was unavoidable because it was like actually reported in the press, not just like it was people spoiling things.
It was like
online.
Variety or like some big paper just hey, The Rock is back in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, thanks guys.
Like that sucked. That's a big bummer that they did that. I'm glad that whatever happened that Dwayne Johnson is back because like especially because that is what happened in Fast 5, the shot we see, like he is the one who put the bullets in Herman Reyes. It was his mission that he wanted him busted.
Yeah.
I'm glad that gets to come back around full circle. Like if you're going to have Dante like go after them, he has to go after Luke too.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also even throughout the movie, we do see a lot of pictures of Dwayne Johnson and even shots from Fast 5 of Dwayne Johnson. So the fact that he's actually back, I will say I kind of miss him. I think he fits very well in the Fast franchise. So I'm glad to see him again.
It's so funny because like the Fast and the Furious, like those movies were getting bigger, but The Rock was one of the main reasons that those movies did get bigger. Like when he joined that cast, that amplified that franchise more than like it already was.
Fast 5 was the best movie, and so like it helped that was his entry point.
Absolutely.
Like everybody got high on that,
and he's so good in that movie too.
And here's the thing, like there's a part of me that kind of wishes this franchise had stopped at Furious 7, and that after that we just had like what was essentially Hobbs and Shaw, which is where you follow like Hobbs and like some other characters, and maybe some of the original Fast family appears, but it would have been like the right way to kind of bring them back around, but like not involve Brian, right?
Yeah.
But we continued a story that involves the family, and like I like that. I'm having a good time, but like there's a part of me that like it would have made more sense to just stop at 7 and like let other characters stay out of the franchise. You could still bring back Dom and stuff, but
Yeah.
you would divorce it from like the environment where Brian would be.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's not what Vin Diesel
This is the way
wants.
it no. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But like that's his power. That's the power that he had as a presence as his character in this franchise. So like we were always bummed that like their feud meant he wasn't going to come back, because it's like, it feels like you really should be there though.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's happening.
Luckily, the DC universe imploded, so he's back.
Luckily,
Him and Gal.
Luckily, he lost Black Adam, and Gal's probably not Wonder Woman anymore. So here they are.
So,
Yeah.
Hey, fast directors can come back. I am glad to have them back though. Like, it would be weird, especially with all the Dante stuff. To like, you're not going to get the guy who killed your dad though, for real?
Yeah.
Right.
Not even like a mention.
I'm glad that
Yeah.
that's like what the post credits is about, and bringing that on and hitting him. Excuse me, with the same. I've been watching you the way I watch Dom's shtick. I think is really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just like Dwayne Johnson taking his helmet off and he's holding the phone and just like crushes it. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You some bitch.
That's pretty
you
good.
some bitch, squish.
Also, shout outs to Dwayne Johnson not feeling like he needed to hide his age, letting his goatee be white
Oh,
as it
yeah.
actually is naturally, rather than dyeing it.
And also like that he had the goatee, because there could have been a world where he just didn't have it, because that takes a little more effort.
Right.
And like, nah, man, just have the goatee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shout outs to him on that. I can't wait until he actually like talks publicly about doing this, because he hasn't yet.
And he'll be very positive and like, I'm so thrilled to be back with my family and all of the baloney.
We'll see.
And,
We'll
you know,
see.
yeah.
I wonder what spin he'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, hey, isn't this you bashing him on Jungle Cruise press tours?
I
It's like,
literally
no,
just
no,
watched
no,
the
no.
video of you talking shit on what's Roman Tyrese's rap album that was really bad. Like you talking shit on it. So like, I don't know, Rock. I don't know, Dwayne. Can you come back from this?
Yeah. We'll let him, because we want to watch the movie and we're not going to give him any shit.
It's
We're
true.
just going to be like, yeah, it's fine.
Listen,
Whatever.
you can
Yeah.
have your Black Adam. Just come back and be Hobbs.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
rate
It's
it?
a cool movie. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the next one.
yeah, me too.
Now I'm really jazzed about it, especially with Jason Momoa still on the table. That was one of the things, like when we were getting towards the third act, I'm like, he's got it. He can't be taken out at this point. He's got to be back for the next one. He's just gotta.
Yeah.
And like, he's too fun. He's too cool. Like, you're not going to get better than this, I think, at this point. Like for this finale, like it's Jason Momoa and Charlize Theron, and they're the kind of the only people you can play with now. You're not going to introduce another person that's going to make it more impactful than these characters right now.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And I will say, like, we're just hoping that we see more fun and more returning faces in the next one. Maybe my number one that I'm hoping for is absolutely.
And his name is John C.
I don't care what it takes. Just bring him back.
If he's
I don't care
if
what
he's
it
in the
is.
movie or not, you can't see him.
I want him in the movie. I don't care what it takes.
Love it.
Just do it.
You make him a cyborg. That's fine.
All right. Let's go ahead and give our final thoughts and rate it. Ben, what amount of 10 out of 10 would you give it on
Family.
the scale?
How much family would I give this? I would give this 8 family out of 10.
Nice.
It's a fun ride. If you go into this movie knowing that it's just gonna be a bombastic, batshit crazy movie, and I will definitely say I walked out of there happier than I thought I was going to be. Obviously, like the Fast series has been one of those, like, it's a movie about cars and racing and all this other shit, and then it just turns into a high, like, essentially, like Ryan said best, it turns into a live action anime. And Jason Momoa really seals it home. John Cena was a treat to watch, but if I am going to go back to Fast 10, it's purely for Jason Momoa, 100%. He definitely brought this movie up from like a 7 to an 8, and it's like a hard 8. I'm willing to go 8.5 because of him. So I would
All
say
right. It sounds like you definitely.
I got family.
There you are. All right.
I will agree with my friend Ben Magna on this. I will also give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a perfectly great, fun action movie. I'm just, again, thrilled that, like, we haven't gotten, at least, like, in my opinion, the last, like, 4 or 5, we haven't gotten a bad one yet. Like, however you feel about, 7, 8, 9, or at least 8, 9. I like all those movies, and, like, this is just another added to the staple of, like, hey, this is another great action movie. 8 out of 10.
That's a solid
I got
one.
family.
And I'll give it my rating on the
Family.
scale, and I'll say that I will say that I am in agreement with you guys. I also give it an 8. I think I also echo what Ben said. Without Momoa, it's probably down closer to a 7.
Yeah.
Part of what pulls it back for me is this is not a complete story.
Yep.
And that's not like necessarily a knock about it. I like that they're building something big and epic, and they're going out with this huge bang for this franchise that it deserves it.
Yeah.
But it does make it so that I can't quite give it anything higher, because I feel like too many characters are in incomplete space when I'm done. So I'm like, I can't fully see the vision right now. So 8. But Momoa definitely cranks that baby up a fair number for me.
Love it.
Because he's just too good. Okay, and then we will real quick before we move on to our book club. I will just hold on. Pull out Brandon's thoughts.
Oh, did he see it?
He did see it. He saw it actually well ahead of all of us. Solid vehicular action and great stuff from Momoa, but that's kind of it for me. 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
So that's
also
Brandon's quick summation thoughts on what he felt. All right, friends, it's time to go to the book club.
Before we get into the book club, Grayson has this great comment about next one should bring the newest villain that would be a twist. Eagly.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Eagly comes back for revenge against Jason Momoa. I'd take it. I'll do it.
You picked a team of people over me? Hey guys, it's me. I'm Ryan. Welcome to the Fake Nerd Book Club. What would it be like to meet an alternate version of yourself? Another you who had made different choices and lived a completely different life as a result? Well, that's a question facing Jessica Jones. In this week's book club, The Variants by Gail Simone and art by Phil Noto, maybe my favorite artist ever alive. He's alive right now. He's still alive. I love Phil Noto's art. He draws beautiful people. Yo, what's up, guys? I picked Jessica Jones last week because we were talking about Indiana Jones, and there wasn't an archaeological comic I can find, but I did find a book that had Jones in the title. It is also a book that I've never... It's 100% why, yes. And I've never read this book, and I've always wanted to since it came out last year because I love Jessica Jones, Phil Noto, and Gail Simone. I know it's a goofy thing. But we're not doing Indiana Jones anymore, so it doesn't matter. Guys, Variants. So Jessica Jones. I love Jessica Jones. I think she's great. Gail Simone. I love Gail Simone. I think her DC work is great. She's done a lot of great. She did a great Domino miniseries. I think this miniseries is really fun. I think she's got a great voice for characters. Phil Noto's art, y'all, you know I love Phil Noto. That guy draws the most beautiful people. What if you just drew the same beautiful person like 8 different times? Love it. Couldn't be happier. I love Luke Cage. What did you guys think about The Variants?
I was gonna say the fact that that's the reason why you picked it because Jones was in the title. I thought it was hilarious.
I typed Jones into Marvel Unlimited, and that's what popped up.
If it works, it works. Other than that, I love this book. I had a blast with it. I haven't read a whole lot of Jessica Jones books in the past. I don't know if we did any when we were talking about the show. We probably didn't.
I don't think so.
But it was really fun to watch. Oh, no, fun to watch. It was fun to read. And it definitely kept you on your toes on what the whole mystery, on the whole, like the mystery aspect was like, what is going on inside Jessica's head? She was trying to help someone who was a former victim of the Purple Man. And now that person's on trial and she's married to Luke Cage. They're watching their kid and all this stuff is going around her. And when all these variants start showing up, it's like, oh, let's add more wrenches into the pile.
Why are you here, Variants?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic story. Fantastic, the great twist ending. I did not see that coming at all, and just everything about it was really well done, really well written, solid book.
Love it.
I would say a lot of the same. I think that this is genius. Frankly, in its execution of these 5 issues, I love it. I think the art is incredible throughout.
I love in the first issue when she's trying on all the different lipsticks. That's the first indication of like, no, we're gonna deal with a bunch of different Jessicas. Yeah. Look at that.
I love that. I love that page. I think that they did such a good job unfolding the mystery that's going on in this story. Both in terms of like what's up with the Purple Man stuff and then what's up with these variants at the same time.
Yeah.
It's all really, really good. I just thought this was a really, really good story.
Hell yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Man, just looking at this Phil Noto art, like again, that dude, he draws the best facial expressions of all time. He just knows every expression. You know what the characters are feeling. He draws a scary purple man. Oh my god, I love his purple man.
Yeah, he does. He looks exceptional.
Yeah, his purple
I really
man.
love him.
Hella,
with the hands coming up around him.
Hella shady. And I love that like the purple man's been gone, but like maybe there's like a time bomb in Jessica Jones's brain.
Yeah.
That he set there because of what's going on with this girl who's in court right now, who ends up killing herself. And that really scares Jessica that she's gonna do something maybe to her son, or to her daughter, or to her husband, or to herself, while all these variants are invading her life for who knows what reason. It is a lot of things happening at once, and I think you're right. It blends together perfectly, and it works together. I love the stuff with Daredevil. How like there's a Jessica from another timeline that is with Daredevil, but it's not this Daredevil. Like it all feels like this is all like grounded in like emotions, and like how this one version of Jessica Jones, Jewel, has the worst life, and like how she wanted to be with Scott Summers, but Jean Grey stole her, and she killed all the X-Men. Yeah. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
I don't have your powers. I have Rogue's powers. Like, it's a comic book. Of course you do.
Yeah. When we first meet Jewel, like obviously you think when you first meet the variants, they fall under the very stereotypical bits. Like you have the one that's Captain America, who is already righteous. You have the one who was in love with Matt Murdock, and she's pining over him, and she's also like very much like, let's trade. I want to trade just to keep me here because Matt's alive in this universe. But the reveal that Jewel is the true villain of the story, and also a truly horrific person, is like, damn it. You got me. The whole like with in issue 2 when you first meet her and she's talking about Kilgrave, and Jessica Prime hugs her and she's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, shh. It's kind of like those, "Oh, you sweet child, don't ever change. It's okay." And then you realize that they're a total monster.
Yeah, I got here. This is a beautiful page. Because she's like, "Oh, okay. What's a Kilgrave?" And then Jessica's like, she doesn't know who he is. She's never experienced him. She's like, "Can I just hold you? Because you're innocent." And like that is so beautiful, not knowing actually she's worse than Kilgrave.
Right. Yeah, this idea that she is so committed to the belief in this character because she's like, oh, she's this version of me before.
She's the best version of me.
Right.
I love this book because Jessica Jones in our version, like she thinks she's had this awful life. And like, but in reality, yes, she has an awful life, but she has a daughter and she has a husband and she has friends who love her. Whereas in another reality, Kilgrave didn't happen to her, but her life is significantly worse because of it, or some other reasons. And it's like, man, like, yeah, your life can be bad, but also like you should also like look at what you do have in your life, and like how people would kill to have the life that you have. And I'm like, that is really eye-opening. And like, yeah, like perspective is really important, and in all types of life, whether you're rich or poor, but perspective is really cool. And I think this book, in being about superheroes, is like, it was really cool to see like. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I just love it. The idea of like a younger version of you who has more ideals is actually worse because they lived a different life. It's just, that's just crazy meta concept.
And Gail Simone does such a good job because like it's always kind of present. It was one of my favorite things is that you're getting Jessica Jones' internal narration, and as she is talking through all these things happening, whenever she talks about Power Man, she talks about him as like this beautiful, endless, incredible person who takes care of her, and like you're hearing what will later be like the thing that Jewel wants and the thing that Jessica realizes I have that is so much better than others.
Yeah.
Is him.
Yeah. And like her friendship with Matt and stuff like all that stuff. Yeah.
And like on some level she understands that. She knows that because that's what she's saying in her internal monologue.
Love this.
The page where she's punching She-Hulk to see how hard how well She-Hulk can take her hardest punches is really good, where like it's just not even doing anything.
Oh, I love the reveal of the male Jessica, the Jesse.
Yeah.
Who is like just a random neighbor who like you see in the background, but he never is like in shot until like issue like 3 or 4. And it's like a male version of Jessica. Great stuff. Again, man, the art, Phil Noto, man, he's insane. And he colors his own, he inks his own stuff. Like he's his one-man working machine.
Yeah. I was gonna say you also get the racist grandma in the elevator.
Say that again?
The scene where Jesse fights Luke Cage right before that, you get the racist grandma.
Oh, that's right. Yes. God, yeah, in the oven.
And
yeah,
Luke
yeah.
Cage just looks over at Jesse and goes, "How about we let this little white lady out first?" He goes, "Fine with me." She just goes, "Fuck are they saying?" And then just goes to blows.
Yeah, I really love the way that like they have all this support when she's trying to protect Power Man. You know, you got Misty Knight, all kinds of resources coming to their aid to protect them because they know like how dangerous Purple Man can actually be at that point. And he's like, "Baby, I always believe you. Don't you know that by now?" And she's like, "I do. It's just I just feel lucky sometimes, like I married into magic." So good.
Yeah.
I just love their relationship so much.
And being an X-Men guy, I didn't expect Krakoa leader Professor X to show up himself, but he shows up to help Jessica with her mind problems. And what I love is it's not Kilgrave, it's Jessica. It's her own like psyche battling herself and dealing with this. And what I love is Charles is like, the time bomb is real, Jessica. He planted it 10 years ago, but there's no part of his mind left in you. This is all you. Like you're the one pulling the trigger. What you have to do is forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's a lot to like, you have to forgive your abuser or else you'll never get over it. That is some real shit.
And as he's saying that you have to do that, he's like, he only knows what you know, only suspects what you do because he is you, Jessica. Forgive him, forgive yourself. And the real Kilgrave he'll never hear your forgiveness. He's in a coma and this has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And she still can't do it. She says never and punches a hole right through his head.
Take me home, Charles. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. Like for when I first heard this book was announced, like the creative team I love, but the idea of like, oh, Jessica Jones is going to deal with a bunch of variants of herself. Like this was announced when like Loki came out. So like, you know, synergy with variants. And I'm like, I don't know about this one, but after reading it, I'm like, man, there's a lot of value here. There's a lot of really good
and that
stuff.
was the end of issue 4. Was the Charles stuff, and then you get all of the variants assembling.
The Jessica Jones vision. Oh my god, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's really good, and that's where we get the reveal.
Oh my god, yeah.
Jewel.
Again, the facial expressions on Jewel, on Phil Noto's expressions are just top notch, man.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. I think that they tell this story very, very well.
I love the power Jessica. It's like looks like Luke Cage.
Yes,
love it. There's the Elektra. Oh, I love it.
And then you get Wanda coming in.
Wanda Strange, Jessica Jones. Love it. Cool. Yeah, man. This book is like, this takes like a concept and like really runs with it instead of just like, let's just a bunch of different Jessica Jones. Who cares? Like, there's a lot of thought and like love put in this book. And like, I feel the great thing about Jessica Jones and Luke Cage is like they've been together for like a long time now. And like you feel that relationship, feel that love there. It's still in this book. Like they never tried to break these characters up or anything. And I'm glad they did because like, why would you do something like that?
Right.
Like they got a kid, let them live their life, even though that kid has been that age for 15 years.
Yeah.
Comics. Yeah, comics.
I really love the like morning blush theme that runs through from like beginning to end and like when it reappears. But I really, like the final shot is as the sun is coming up. It's morning blush. I just think that's really nice. I love that kind of thematic stuff, and it's really pretty. Yeah. God, I could go on and on, but no, it'd be too much.
I'm glad you guys liked it. I think this is a great book. Gail Simone, she does a lot of miniseries, and like she's just not given a lot of ongoings anymore, unfortunately. And she's so talented. I will read anything she puts out, honestly. So that's The Variants. Glad
absolutely crushing it. What a fun story! I thought just end to end, well made.
Hell yeah.
Yep. 100% agree. Absolutely great read.
Real quick, I just remembered Brandon also shared thoughts on this.
Oh yeah.
The Variants I really loved. Great art, of course, and Gail Simone has a great voice for Jessica, and I really love the reveal of Jewel. Just all around excellent stuff.
I don't want to do this, man. It's not me. I'm just the bullet. This is Jesse talking to Luke Cage, and Luke's like, "Yeah, sorry for you, friend. Because do you know anything about Luke Cage? He's bulletproof." And he takes him out, and he falls to the ground like 40 stories below. Oh, sick. Luke Cage is so cool. He's so cool. Yeah.
All right, friends. That will do it for our book club and for our episode. Our book club next week is from Brandon. It's going to be American Born Chinese, which is getting a show on Disney Plus soon.
That is true. That's by Gene Yang.
It'll probably be there for at least a few months, I suspect.
Hope if it's good.
Okay.
It has 2 Oscar-winning actors in its cast.
Yeah, it's true. Coming up, you're going to be hearing us next week talk about it's time to begin our Mission Impossible adventure, friends. We are talking about Mission Impossible 1 and 2. You might say, but wait, friends, isn't there another big movie released next week? In The Little Mermaid? Why, yes, there is, friends, but we do not feel obligated to talk about said movie. There may be a discussion. We'll see. But it'll probably not be on our main episodes.
Y'all hear that Scuttle song?
No.
I really want to support Halle Bailey, and that's the main reason I still want to see that movie.
I do too.
But we'll see how that shakes out. It will not be a main topic episode. It might be a cinephile. So
yeah,
keep an eye out for that. But next week, Mission Impossible 1 and 2. We're starting the journey to Dead Reckoning. It's another franchise beginning for us. Ben's never seen it. It's going to be a great time.
Can't fight the friction.
I've only seen 2 of the films. I haven't seen all of them.
Right.
And it's been a long time, right?
Yes, it has. A very long time.
All right. Conversation, as we said up top, new episode is out with Sean Ferrick. Go check that out. Check out all kinds of other things on our YouTube. We have some Fake Nerds Watch stuff that's been up. There's pause menu coming out this week and more pause menus ahead. Ben's been hard at work. Basement Arcade's coming around the corner in our near future. My life is shifting into a more comfortable scheduled place. So expect maybe some book clubs and other kind of things coming down the pipeline. Animation stations, who knows?
Video games.
And also the Real Score. If you're paying attention to the Real Score, 2 episodes were supposed to be out by now. We are behind. I will catch up. I'm working on it.
Life.
You can check out our Patreon, our TeePublic, all links down below. Our website, however, is currently down. The server was hacked, so stay tuned for updates on that. We'll let you know when we got that all squared away and back and sorted.
You got the YouTube right here.
Thank you to our listeners and our viewers, everyone watching and on the live stream, of course. Our friends here in the comments.
Grayson right here saying, should I choose to accept it? Is cut up on all mission, but yes, I accept this mission. There you go.
Already accepted it.
Yeah, so check all that out. Check us out here. All the places that we said before, the links, everything. Thank you for being here, listeners and viewers. We greatly appreciate it. And to Jeremy Velucci, who does our music for all our shows and collaborates with us on the Real Score. You can find him at Jeremy Velucci _Wreck of Time, which is his band, Wreck of Time. Highly recommend checking out that music. And does Suburban Proctologist, which you can check out at facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official or Instagram at SubProc Podcast. There was a new episode dropped recently for that, so go check that out.
Whoop.
And of course, Mike Matola, who does a fair chunk of our logos and is another extenuated member of the family for us.
Kind of looks like Jason Momoa.
I should have had it queued up. He's an extended member of the... Yeah, there it is.
He's our Jason Momoa.
He's we like to say here that because of him,
I got family.
Absolutely. Thanks, Vin. So you can.
I saw him do it.
It's
looping.
Yeah,
it's looping.
You gotta pause it.
That's pretty good.
Mike Matola does a lot of wonderful stuff for us, and we appreciate all his collaborations. You can check him out at Mike Matola on Instagram and TikTok. All right. Go ahead and check us out at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all Fake Nerd Podcasts, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, then you can find me at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty, just in a mad dash to try and get the next Real Score episode out. Ryan?
Hey, you could find me just lapping up those tears in that kingdom at DJ Tony Snark 616 all day, every day.
Tasty tears.
Yum, yum.
And Ben?
You can find me exploring Hyrule again after such a long time of being away at BenMagnet27, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, GoNintendo.com, as well as playing Mary Frankenstein in Dean Dark. As we said, link for the latest episode is down below.
And you can find Brandon T. McClure at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. And you can check out his writings on CBR and also on Atomic Geekdom, where he's writing the MCU stuff, and also Kaiju Ramen Media, where he helps make a whole bunch of stuff over there. And I say all that because without Brandon, we wouldn't have
family.
That's right. Okay. And so with that, I'll say, dear friends, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us, friends. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and until next time.
And his name is John C.
I did it.
You did it. Stay
My
fake
hand-
nerds.
My hand was on the button. It was ready.
Stay fake nerds.